25 seconds to air.
Turn my camera off. Just one last quick thing from me. When they get brought through, they're then going to remain in, we've decided, because we're going to do how we did the other week. Otherwise, I feel like it would just get too confusing.
So how are they going to, we know for them to come in? You're going to have to just go in and grab them then, mate.
So I'm going to be listening the whole time, and they're going to get brought through.
They're then going to... Okay, so I'll try and give you a warning of 10 seconds if I try and speak for a bit longer so you've got time to get them in.
We are live on YouTube. So, Mr. Rand, very good luck to everybody. Away you go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest Solent Sports News Night. It's been about 2 weeks that we're back, and we're back on air, and I'm joined by three familiar faces you might have seen from the first week. Ryan Honey, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to be back.
Jacob Townsend, back again.
I'm very pleased to be back. I've got my turtleneck on and I'm ready to go.
And we're joined by Wales' own Ollie Johnson. How are you, mate? Looking forward to the game tonight?
A little bit. I'm a bit nervous, but yeah, hopefully I'll try and be as unbiased as possible.
We'll start with you, mate. So how would you say the campaign for the Welsh has been going so far?
Well, poor. Well, kicked off the campaign against Belgium away. I think going into that was always going to be Wales' toughest game. And it was probably even though the final result was 3-1, it was probably one of the better performances they've had as that squad, especially under caretaker manager Rob Page. Very good performance. I think the goal that was scored early on in the game to take the lead was a fantastic team goal, probably one of the best Welsh goals you'll see for a long time. But I think coming up against a team like Belgium, there's a lot of history there now between the Welsh and everything that happened at Euro 2016 and the qualifying campaign before. They were looking to bounce back and get a win over us. So, and when you've got a team like the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, etc., just unreal players, it was always going to be a tough game.
Yeah. What's going on with Ryan Giggs? Where's he been, and what's the future? I haven't heard too much. Do you think he's going to come back, or is it going to be just phased out?
I can't. The way it is, I can't see it, to be honest. I think he's in some sort of dispute with an ex-wife of his, with apparent claims. I'm not too sure what they are, but he's...
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds about right. But he's suspended by the Welsh FA, in which case former Watford player Rob Page, who was Ryan Giggs' assistant manager for Wales, has taken over in a caretaker role. And to be honest, he's done a pretty good job. Like, he's brought a lot of players up to the standard they need to be, that they probably weren't. The likes of Dan James wasn't performing too well for Wales, but under Rob Page, he's found his form again. So I think with it being so close to the Euros now, it's only a couple of months away, and our first team manager is suspended by the FA. I can't see him being in charge for the Euros, and to be honest, I'd like to see Rob Page there.
Ryan, coming to you now. Have you enjoyed watching a bit of international football? It's been better than having relentless league football. It seems like we've not had a break for months now.
I'm actually a big fan of international football. You get to see players playing for their countries, and for me, that's pretty special. Watching England, watching Wales for Ollie, I'm sure is something that he looks forward to when the international break does come around. And you just get to see so many different kinds of football. Obviously, players playing with players that they don't usually get to play with. Obviously, the likes of Gareth Bale is a massive standout for Wales. He's obviously been and done it at Real Madrid and now at Spurs. He is one without doubt, their standout player. And to be able to play with him, for the likes of Harry Wilson, Ethan Ampadu, Tyler Roberts, it's going to do the wonders for their development. So I'm a big advocate, yeah.
And as for you, Jacob, has there only been any standout games that you've watched, if you've managed to catch any shock results that have piqued your eye?
To be honest with you, James, I've used the international break as some sort of respite from football. It's been so relentless, the football calendar, and I find the international break, aside from the Nations League, the first round of Nations League, and any competitions, as completely tedious. And I don't really watch any of it. I know Ryan Harney's talked about Wales, and obviously Ollie's got an affiliation with Wales, but for me, I really could not care less whether England beats San Marino, beats Spain, or beats Switzerland. They all, at the end of the day, are meaningless compared to the Euros or the World Cup.
No, fair play, mate. I kind of agree with you there. It's been nice to kind of like a football detox in a way, hasn't it?
Yes.
to not see the relentless league football. So tonight we've got 8 games, one international friendly involving the Republic of Ireland and Qatar. We'll probably talk a bit more about that later. First of all, we're going to go back to Ollie again. There's probably the only home nation playing tonight. What's the team news for the game against Serbia? No, Czech Republic. Sorry. What's the team news? Any interesting players in the team, or is it same old, same old?
Yeah, same old. Obviously, there were three players sent home during yesterday for breaking. I think it was a protocol in terms of staying up late in the hotel. But to be honest, the 3 players were Tyler Roberts, Hal Robson-Kanu, and Rabbi Matondo. All 3 players probably weren't going to be involved, so it wasn't that much of a miss. And looking at the starting 11, it hasn't really changed too much, to be honest. I think the only addition from the last game, really, who wasn't there, is James Lawrence. Even though there was a much younger team played against Mexico last time out, compared to the Belgium in the first game of the qualifiers, it looks like pretty much the same team. So it's Danny Ward in goal, Chris Meffam, James Lawrence and Joe Roden playing a back 3 with Nico Williams and Connor Roberts at wing backs. Then we're playing Ethan Ampadu's central defensive midfield with Joe Morrell and Harry Wilson just outside, Dan James and Gareth Bale up top with them as 2 strikers. Down the other end, it's Vaklik in goal, Kufal from West Ham, Salutska, Kadula is still playing despite the controversy, Borrell, Souček, Holes, Probod, Derrida, Yankto and Schick up top.
Quite a strong team. I think the player you're going to have to watch out for is it's got to be Thomas Souček, hasn't it, mate?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think he's at the minute he's probably putting himself up there with some of the best midfielders in the Premier League. He's been absolutely unbelievable for West Ham. The fact that they're anywhere near the top 6, top 4 this season compared to where they have been in previous years is unbelievable. And I think a lot of that's down to him and probably his link up with Jesse Lingard and Declan Rice.
And he did bag a hat-trick the other day in a 6-2 win against Estonia. So, yeah, definitely one to mark at all costs. Elsewhere in Group E, probably the team that are favourites to win the group, Belgium, who struggled last time out in a 1-1 draw against the Czech Republic. They faced Belarus. Luke Wallace has the team news for this one. Hi, Luke. You all right, mate?
Good evening, James. I'm at the Den Drees Stadium here in Belgium for the Group E qualifier between Belgium and Belarus. How are you? You asked me, how are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Looking forward to this one. I'd like to say it's one-sided, but are you going to tell me otherwise?
Kind of, actually. It surprised me, actually. Belgium come into this game having drawn 1-1 with the Czech Republic. They actually went behind in that game and rescued a point, while Belarus come into the game off the back of a 4-2 win off Estonia. So Belarus actually are quite a surprise outfit. I mean, like I said, Belgium come into this off a win against Wales and a draw against the Czech Republic, which sees them in second in the group. For Belarus, Mikhail Markel's side fell behind in that 4-2 win, but they scored 3 times in the final half an hour to take the 3 points home. But they've never qualified for a major tournament, so it's a tough ask, especially in this group as well, with Belgium and Wales to name just 2.
I know this gets asked all the time, but I'm not the biggest fan of Roberto Martinez, and I feel like they could have maybe had someone else in charge who do better with that so-called golden generation. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, well, they brought him in, didn't they? I think it was after the failures at Euro 2016, I think it was. He's a decent manager. Obviously, he had his success with Wigan. I think it's fair to say he failed at Everton. He's one of those strings of managers, along with Marco Silva and a couple of others, that went into Everton to try and steer them towards the top of the Premier League and ended up battling out in the mid-table. But no, I'd say he's a decent enough manager, and obviously he finished 3rd at the World Cup, so and he signed an extension to 2022, so he's going to be there for a little while longer as well.
Brilliant, mate. Thank you. Look forward to hearing to you later. Ryan, I'm going to ask you a quick question here. Belgium, serious contenders? I know they're number 1 ranked in the world. They've got a really impressive unbeaten record of 25 at home in qualifiers. But can they take it to the tournament? Do you think they're going to be up there in the summer?
Definitely. I think they're definitely one to look out for. I mean, it definitely speaks volumes that they've lost just 1 international game, which came against England since November 2018. And that obviously came last year in the Nations League. But for me, the options that they've got at the top end of the pitch, the likes of Lukaku, Mertens, Kevin De Bruyne, I mean, they all fall into the world-class category. And if Belgium are going to win any sort of tournament. Those are the sorts of players that you're going to have in your team. And Roberto Martinez will have a job on his hands because obviously they've struggled to win major tournaments of late. But I think this could be their year for sure.
James, just to touch on Ryan's point, I think this has to be their year because you look at that group of players, they've been together for a long time, the likes of Lukaku, De Bruyne, and you're just seeing there's going to be a peak, but there's also going to be a decline. And you've seen the likes of Jan Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Vincent Kompany's now retired. They've all either retired or passed their best. So they really need to make use of this golden group or this golden generation, because if they don't, I think they'll look back with it with a lot of regret.
No, I do agree, mate. I think you'd always look at the defence of Belgium as the kind of point that you see what they've got now. What will they have in the future? The guys like you said, Alderweireld and Vertonghen, they're quite old now. Meunier right back. They've never really had a semi-decent left back. Obviously, Courtois in goal, and so it'll be interesting. But yeah, like you said, I think they've got to do something this year, and I think they are quite well versed to do that. Elsewhere in Group H, we have Croatia against Malta. Malta did take a 2-0 lead last game against Slovenia, and a real shock, but they managed to kind of claw it back and draw 2-2 at the end. Jack Bishop's here. Hi, Jack. You all right?
Fantastic, James. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. The team news. Any surprises at all? I don't really know the Maltese team, so you might have to fill me in, mate.
Well, I'll run you through both teams. First of all, looking at the Croatia team, quite actually pleased to see two names from the Dinamo Zagreb side that knocked Spurs out of the Europa League last week. The goalkeeper Livakovic, who had an excellent game, and of course the star of the show, Mislav Orsic, both in the starting lineup for Croatia. Looking, I think it's quite safe to say, like a 4-2-3-1 from Croatia. So, as I say, Livakovic in goal, a back four of Juranovic, Vida, Kalatakar, and Melnjak. Kovacic and Badeli as the holding midfielders, Orsic on the left wing, just as he played for Zagreb, and then Vlasic in the middle, Pasalic on the right, and Budimir up front for Croatia. As for the visitors, Malta, looking like they're going to be playing with a 3/5 back, however you choose to look at it. That is what they use when they manage that 2-2 draw, as you mentioned last time out against Slovakia. It is Bonello in goal for them, Borg, Pepe, and Shaw as the three central defenders, Kamanzuli and Mbong as the wing backs turned midfielders, Christensen and Guillaumier in the centre of the midfield, and then a front three of Pisani, Saturiano, and Tiuma for Malta. So that is rank 11th Croatia, being visited by rank 176th Malta. So obviously should be light work for Croatia, but as we saw last time out, they only managed a 1-0 win against Cyprus. So certainly a chance for Malta, especially with the momentum that they have coming off that draw in the week.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you. And I know that they don't look too good in front of goal, Malta, but Croatia have only kept one clean sheet in their last 13 games. So if anyone can get at that back four, you never know, this might be Malta's day. Thank you very much. Ryan, Croatia, do you think that England made them look too good in the World Cup 2 years ago, or do you think that they are a decent team, albeit quite midfield and top heavy?
I think that's a good question. I mean, when you look at the team that they had at the World Cup, I think Jacob mentioned it earlier about Belgium. I think Croatia had something similar. I think they sort of peaked in the 2018 World Cup. Obviously, they're the likes of Mandzukic, who was firing in Serie A at the time. Luka Modric was performing high standard at Real Madrid. And you're sort of thinking, how much longer can they go for? And are the replacements that are coming through going to be the same sort of quality? So, I mean, in terms of competing like they did in the World Cup back in 2018, in this tournament potentially, or next year's World Cup, I think it'd be a tough task.
Don't you think though, Ryan? Like, obviously, you mentioned the fact that that was probably the strongest team at the time, probably the best bit of form. I generally think that Croatia are a team that can just nick a win. They did it to England in the World Cup. They did it to Wales twice a year later in games Wales should have won. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I mean they do seem to find a way when they need to. They're not sort of one-dimensional, as we found out in the World Cup. They dug deep against us in that semi-final, but like I did say, they had that quality. And when they don't have that quality, what they're going to do. The likes of Nikita Vlasic, Budimir coming through as well. I mean, are they good enough? I think we're about to see.
No, I agree. I agree, mate, totally. I think, you saw Luka Modric's video there. How old is he now? 34, 35? Rakitic getting on. Brozovic, Perisic. Pedro Luka doesn't play much anymore. So they're all getting the wrong side of, the wrong end of 30. So who knows what will happen there. Next up, we've got Gibraltar versus the Netherlands. Hayden Baker's on this one. Netherlands had a tough start to their group, losing 4-2 to Turkey. They managed to put it back in the second game. How are they looking ahead of this one, do you think, Hayden?
I think safely, pretty safe to say, in fact, that Netherlands will win this one. Gibraltar, between the two sides, there's 180 places in the world rankings between the two of them. And it's not exactly like Gibraltar are an established powerhouse of international football for them to worry about. I think this is a good opportunity for them to get the wins back after that disappointing opener at Turkey, although they did win at Latvia last week. I think it's a good opportunity for Netherlands to get some goals in, get a win in, and get that confidence going for the rest of the campaign. I looked at
the team on the game against Turkey. It's quite inconsistent. The team they fielded in the second game. What's it looking like today? Is it more of a regular team with some of the regular stars, or is it, as you'd expect, quite weak?
So interestingly, you would have thought this would be the opportunity for Netherlands to maybe chop and change a little bit. It's a pretty relatively new manager in Frank de Boer, maybe try out a few different options. However, the Netherlands are completely unchanged for this one from the game at Latvia. A lot of big names that you probably wouldn't expect to start in a game like this, such as Gigi Wijnaldum, Memphis Depay, Matthijs de Ligt, Daley Blind. They're all in there for this one. Not even in goal is there a change, with Tim Krul starting again today. So I think it obviously is a matter of confidence for the Netherlands that they want to get some goals in this game. They want to keep that same team a bit of consistency. They sort of lined up with a 4-2-3-1 with the last game. I think it might be changing to maybe 3 up front for this one. So just to think a different rotation of how they're playing maybe, but the same players and a bit of consistency.
Jacob, obviously they didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup. And at that point, they were kind of down as having a bit of a talent deficit and a bit of dip in talent. Do you think that now with the likes of Bergwijn and Boadu and Brobbey and De Ligt and De Jong, do you think they're back on the trend to where they were a few years ago?
Well, they're certainly on an upward trajectory now. I think after the World Cup, in 2018, I think they're probably the team that's been most progressive. You can contrast their fortune to Germany, really, where they kind of don't know where they're going. Where Holland now, they've got a clear identity. They're going through youth. I think the Ronald Koeman exit was unfortunate. I don't think it was planned. And there's a real probably dearth of managers that can harness that youth. So Frank de Boer has had to come in, but I think they were after Louis van Gaal coming back or Ten Hag, but they weren't available at the time. So I think that there's still questions over the manager. But in terms of the players, like you mentioned, Frankie de Jong, De Ligt, they could be leaders for that country for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised when they announced de Boer, given his tenure at Crystal Palace. But there we go. He is Dutch and was a very good player when he played. Next up, Ryan, you're on the Luxembourg-Portugal game. Obviously, Portugal last time out were robbed, and I would say robbed definitely, by that late goal disallowed against Serbia. They should have got to be fielding a weaker side away to Luxembourg, am I right?
You'd be surprised. It's actually a pretty strong side. They've made 4 changes. Cedric Suarez drops out. Sorry, I've got my notes. Cedric Suarez, Bruno Fernandes, Danilo Pereira and Sergio Oliveira make way for Nuno Mendes, Ruben Neves, Renato Sanchez and João Felix. So in terms of quality being shifted, I mean, quality is also coming onto the pitch as well. So it looks like they're taking Luxembourg pretty seriously after their shocking 1-0 win against Ireland at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Luxembourg's team when they beat Ireland. I don't want to talk about it too much because poor Irish find it tough at the moment. I was looking at the team they played, and I was expecting them all to be, San Marino type, car salesmen, plumbers, but there's actually a few decent players in there.
No, there are. I mean, the majority of them apply their trade in the Belgian league, but there are also some sly little players that sort of are making their way in the game. quite well, really. They're coming on leaps and bounds. And I mean, I did watch a bit of the Luxembourg Ireland game, and they did play some nice stuff at times. And for me, you know, they were quite clinical, and they definitely deserved at least a point. And you know, I don't think it was such a shock that they actually went on to win the game. That I thought they were excellent against Ireland.
Ollie, I feel like I've been saying this over and over again. You know, we spoke about Belgium, we spoke about the Netherlands. For me, Portugal got to be one of the top two favourites. They've got such a good, exciting squad. You know, with Fernandes, Cancelo. When you've got Ronaldo in the team, there's always goals, and you like Pepe playing at the back. Do you think they're going to be right up there as well?
Oh, definitely. You know, you can put lots of Bernardo Silva in that mix as well. And like you look at the team that won 4 years ago, they were a team of like probably pretty aged players at that time. You know, Ronaldo wasn't young at that stage. Pepe, you know, Fonte. There was quite an old team, Patricio. So they're coming in with a much younger team, and probably, you know, João Felix, much more talented team in my opinion. So I think they've got as much a chance as anybody this time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Next up, we've got Montenegro versus Norway. In the same group as Turkey and Spain, and Netherlands, sorry. Harry Smith, have you got the team news on that one?
Yeah, it is Montenegro versus Norway, live from the Podgorica City Stadium. Montenegro are second in Group G at the moment, with 6 points from their first two games. Norway sit in fourth with only 3 points from their first two fixtures. But overall form in all competitions, Montenegro have won 3 of their last 6 matches, whereas Norway have won 3 as well, but lost 2. But at the moment, team news, we have Haaland and Odegaard both starting for Norway. Of course, Odegaard was a doubt due to an ankle injury that he picked up, although he did start against Turkey in their previous game, which they lost 3-0. And former Manchester City man Stefan Jovetic is starting for Montenegro, which is a big boost for them as he is their main man. Also, Stefan Savic from Atletico Madrid, I believe. Yeah, he is starting for Montenegro as well. But it should be quite a good game. Of course, Haaland is one of the best strikers in the world at the moment, although in 10 shots that he has taken in his 2 previous international appearances, none of those have gone in, which is unheard of for someone of Erling Haaland's quality. But yeah, it is a 7:45 kickoff, and I'll be back giving you updates of all the scores.
Jacob, on to the top of Erling Haaland, and especially with Odegaard as well, I didn't think he was going to be back in the team so quickly. With the likes of Haaland and Solent up top, would you not expect Norway to be bagging some more goals?
Oh, you think so, wouldn't you? I think they're both playing in Bundesliga for top clubs. Obviously, Haaland at the moment, he seems like the talk of world football, doesn't he? It seems every club in Europe that has money wants him. So you'd expect him to translate his club form, you know, onto the international stage. So if you're looking at it from, you know, not taking form out of the equation, you're thinking Haaland and Solent up front, there's goals there.
What do you think the problem is, Ryan? Do you think it's the lack of, the players that can't get the ball to Odegaard to then get to the forwards, or do you think it's, they don't form as well as international level as they do at club level?
Well, I think it's a mixture. I mean, obviously, Haaland's no longer playing with the likes of Jadon Sancho, Julian Brandt, Marco Reus, So the chance creation is always going to be a problem. And if you're not going to give Haaland the ball, how can you expect him to score? But on the other hand, when he gets the ball, he's got to put it in the back of the net. And as Harry was saying, 10 shots, you'd at least, you'd want him to at least score at least one of those. So for me, I mean, obviously he's still young, so the quality is going to improve. It's going to only get better, and the likes of Haaland, Solent, and Odegaard, they have to step up on international duty because they're the quality players.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. Let's head over to Turnover now and join Matas Barnauskas. A tough one to call over there, mate.
Yeah, it is, because Slovakia and Russia are in very similar positions in world rankings. It's only 5 spot difference. Slovakia is 34 world, and Russia is 39. So it should be a good game.
Russia are a weird one. I looked at the ranking and I thought they'd be higher than they were because they had quite a good run in the World Cup. But perhaps they're not as good as I think they are. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, I think so. And with the World Cup, I think they were at home, so that's a big difference. The home ground boost was just amazing for them.
What about in terms of the team lineup? Does Zubia start for Russia?
Yeah. Djurba starts front, and he needs only 2 goals to become the top scorer for Russia in history. Now, Alexander Kershakov has 31, and Djurba just 2 goals behind him. And in midfield, Monaco's man Golovin starts for Russia as well. And as the fullbacks, Fernandez and Kudryashov, like proper veterans, and could be help defending them. And with Slovakia, I think probably the main guy is Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan, and he's contributed 3 goals for club and country in the last 4 games. So as a defender, that's a good start. And in midfield, we have Kuka from Parma and Buda from Köln. So it should be an interesting game.
Yeah, I saw that stat about Skriniar, which is quite an incredible one. Ollie, do you think Russia could be, a dark horse at all? I mean, they're quite passionate about their club football, or do you reckon they're just kind of a group filler?
It's hard to say because I think the national team's consistency in performances and qualifications has been so just inconsistent over the past 10, 20 years. You look at a team you'd never put anywhere near competing in a World Cup to then get into the quarter-final, penalty shootout away from a semi-final. It's hard one to take. But then at the same time, you looked at them in the tournament before in Euro 2016, and they were beaten quite heavily by Wales. England gave them a tough game to the end. Slovakia did as well. So it's hard to say, to be honest. I think the fact of a home World Cup in 2018 may have given them that bit extra, a bit of a 12th man. So I think they'll be a bit more than a group filler rather than actual competitors this time around.
Yeah, I probably tend to agree with you. Jacob, you're covering the Turkey-Latvia game. Turkey are high flying at the moment in their group. What do you think is going to happen in this one, and what's the team news looking like?
Well, you're right. They have made a great start. I think the Netherlands victory was probably, the first game, and it gave them belief that, although Netherlands are ranked higher than us, we can really trouble these, and we've got a genuine shot at World Cup qualification. Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times, because originally it was confirmed on Sunday that actually be 15% of the ground will be full of fans. Unfortunately, it's been a spike across Europe, and it obviously means, like the rest of Europe, there is no fans available. For me, you have to look at Turkey. You think, can they really capitalise on this great start? They've beat the Netherlands. Now they're expected to beat Latvia, who, I'm going to be honest, they're probably battling Gibraltar for whoever's not going to come bottom of the group. So this is a genuine opportunity now to extend the lead at the top of the table. In terms of team news, the ones that I certainly have stood out for me is the centre-back partnership between Kabak and Soyuncu. I think you've seen him in the Premier League. Soyuncu's an excellent defender. He's obviously filled Harry Maguire's shoes at Leicester superbly. And Kabak, there's still question marks about him. So I'm looking forward to seeing them both.
Yeah, no, I like their team. They've got quite good defensive stability. Obviously, Demirel from Juventus as well, and Celik, the Neil right back. But the headlines are all about the big man up top, aren't they? Burak Yilmaz.
Yes, listen, he's a really good player. He can hold the ball up, he can run in behind, and he just offers that outlet for them. And I think for a team like Turkey, who are not blessed with the most technical players, having that focal point up front is key to the way they play.
Yeah, he did bag a hat-trick in the first game against the Netherlands and was the oldest man to do so in European qualifiers for the World Cup. Lastly, like I said earlier, the unofficial game involving Republic of Ireland and Qatar, who've kind of been chucked in just to play some games and get up to scratch. Charlie Parker's watching that one. What's the team news?
Both teams have changed formations for this one. Qatar have gone from a 4-5-1 to a 4-4-2. They've moved Mohamed Montari up front and Hassan El Haydos into central midfield. El Haydos scored twice for Qatar at the weekend in a 2-1 win over Azerbaijan. For Ireland, they have put Shane Long up front with Daryl Horgan, and Matt Doherty has been ruled out of the game, so Kyrus Christie has come in. But this is the first time these two have ever faced, and Republic of Ireland are in terrible form. They have not won in 10 games, 3 draws, 7 losses. And the last win comes in 2019 against New Zealand. And the manager, Stephen Kenny, is just looking for some credibility since no points are on the line this game. This is just a friendly, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how do you reckon Republic of Ireland will react to that awful loss against Luxembourg? Because Stephen Kenny isn't one to kind of normally change his lineup too much. Do you reckon there'll be a change from the Irish?
Well, there has to be a change. This is more of a momentum game than anything. They have to. Their chances in the group are looking slimmer than ever after Serbia's victory today. They have to just gain momentum. Maybe Shane Long coming in up front. He wasn't in the lineup of the weekend. He was on the bench. Maybe he can pull some goals in, but it's not looking good in the goal tally for Ireland at the moment.
As for Qatar, do you tell us a little bit about them? I've heard a bit that's maybe there's some nationalised Brazilians in their team. Is there anything you can see from the starting lineup as to what kind of team they are?
Well, they've changed formation, as I said. I think they're going a bit more defensive. They may have thought that Shane Long may have started as Ireland are looking to bounce back, but we're looking at Hassan Al-Haydos, the main man. He has 30 goals in 130 appearances. He's going to be very dangerous today. I expect him to score a couple.
Yeah, hopefully we can see a bit more about Qatar. Jacob, a man who does love Shane Long. Do you think he can bag the goals in tonight for Ireland? And again, they definitely need him to do so.
Don't put words in my mouth, James. I wouldn't say I love Shane Long, but all I'll say is if Ireland are relying on Shane Long to score them goals, then there's something fundamentally wrong with their country. It's obviously a great opportunity. I've noticed on Twitter and other social media sites there's been a lot of stick for the Ireland players, including Shane Long. So perhaps he can answer a couple of critics. But as I said, Shane Long's not exactly the most prolific scorer, is he? So maybe he can turn the tide tonight, but it looks very unlikely.
Did any of you see the documentary that was on last night about Jack Charlton?
I did not know.
Oh, fair enough. I know. I was watching. It's interesting to see kind of, like a heyday that they had, and to see how kind of far they've dropped. Even though arguably back then you probably said that they didn't have as good a squad. Now that they're looking at struggling really for goals, to keep clean sheets, for creativity. It's dark days in Irish football. Obviously, tomorrow we've got the last round of the other games from the other groups, including England, Northern Ireland and Scotland in action. In terms of England, Ryan Honey's got a bit of a preview for that one because he will be watching that for us. Ryan, I'll ask you a few questions. First of all, how do you expect England to line up tomorrow?
Well, first of all, James, I'm really looking forward to it. I think that they'll go into it obviously knowing it's stronger opposition than what they faced already. Albania and San Marino just sort of warm up games in terms of their qualifying campaign. I'm sure Poland and the likes of Hungary will offer much stronger and difficult chance for the England boys to try and get themselves going.
Do you think, in terms of the team, do you think a double pivot we'll see a double pivot against a better team? They've got some okay forwards, some okay midfielders, and like you said, they're definitely better than Albania and San Marino.
Well, I think so. I mean, obviously, it's a huge blow for them. Robert Lewandowski's been ruled out for up to 10 days. At least 10 days with a knee injury, so he'll miss that game, and that will give England some confidence. Obviously, we've never been the best defensively, and we're just sort of coming to terms with our four at the back. Obviously, Luke Shaw coming into the four at the back in our game against Albania. And it looks like Gareth Southgate's looking at the centre-back partnership of John Stones and Harry Maguire. So, I mean, if they can get a relationship going and sort of get some clean sheets, obviously a perfect start to that in terms of the World Cup qualifying campaign, 2 clean sheets out of 2. So, if they can keep that going tomorrow against Poland, I mean, it put them in good stead going into the future.
Obviously, to hear Lewandowski will be out is good news to the English. Not so good for Germans and fans of Bayern Munich. But they do still have some firepower up front, don't they? Can you give a bit more of an insight into the guys who may deputise in his place?
No, they do. I mean, obviously, Lewandowski is a massive blow for them, but they do have some quality. I mean, Krzysztof Piatek, been linked with the likes of Chelsea in the past. I mean, he'll be someone that they'll be hoping to step up. Obviously, Arkadiusz Milik, he'll also be someone that they'll want to step up as well. I mean, in the front areas, they have got quality. It's just a case of giving them the ball and hoping that they can put their 1-2 chances away, because it's going to be similar to the likes of Haaland at Norway. The chances aren't going to be free flowing. They'll have to be clinical, like Lewandowski usually is.
Obviously, to see him go out is quite sad, especially in the Bundesliga, because he is, I think, 5 goals off breaking Gerd Muller's scoring record with about 8 games left. Ollie, do you think that, obviously, everyone knows he should have won the Ballon d'Or last year. Do you think it's a foregone conclusion he has to win it again? He has to win it this year?
I wouldn't say he has to win it this year, but I think he's probably the firm favourite the way he's going again. I think a lot of people probably wondered whether like the form he had last year was maybe a one-off, even though he's probably been one of the most prolific strikers in the past 10 years. You look at his time at Dortmund as well, he was unbelievable. But I think in particularly last year and everything that went on, yes, he should have won it. And he's managed to carry that on this season as well. So, yeah, for me, I think if they're going to award it, they should definitely give it to him.
Yeah, I think he has to. Obviously, he scores goals for fun, doesn't he? And to be on 35 goals in the league, and 5 off the record that stood for like 40 to 50 years is pretty impressive. Jacob, in terms of England going forwards, now we do have Harry Kane, who you could say is kind of a poor man's Robert Lewandowski. I mean, he's not as clinical, I suppose. He doesn't have the best injury record, but you still take him most of the time. It's the one positions for me though. How do you think England line up in the summer based on current form and who plays?
Well, I think you've been quite harsh on Harry Kane, because I know he's had a not a very good injury record, but in terms of his build-up play, I think he's probably better than Lewandowski. I'm actually hearing that Lewandowski's, I think he took come through that he's out for 4 weeks, so that's a even bigger blow to Bayern Munich. But in terms of the way England line up, I look at England and I look at Southgate, and I'm not quite sure he knows his best team or his formation, because the break before this, he was playing a 3-4-3, and now he's gone to a 4-2-3-1. And I think there's question marks remaining in that back 6 position, really. Them 2 holding midfielders. We all know that England have got a plethora of attacking talent, but the question is, can you get the ball to them? I think against Albania, they played Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. One of them's good, but do you really need 2 against Albania? Are either of them progressive passes? I'm not sure. I think it's a similar issue with Man United. Do you need Fred and McTominay? So I think England are struggling in their positions to get, for a progressive passer that can feed the likes of Jack Grealish, Phil Foden, Mason Mount. So there's question marks that remain for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. In terms of early kickoffs today, we did have 2 early kickoffs in the game with Azerbaijan against Serbia. Serbia came out 2-1 winners in that game. Well, it was 1-1 at a time, and Mitrovic scored in the 87th or so minute. That's 2 in that game for Mitrovic, and probably about 2 more than he scored all season for Fulham. Why do you think that he isn't playing at Fulham, Ryan, but he is for Serbia?
Well, no, it's a strange one. Obviously, he's been a proven goal scorer in the Premier League for the likes of Newcastle over the years, and he's obviously been and done it in the Championship with Fulham. And it's sort of, I think it's Scott Parker's way of trying to change his game style to try and suit the teams around him in the Premier League. Obviously, with Mitrovic up front, you don't get that sort of, maybe he can't offer that press that the likes of Ivan Cavallero and Ademola Lookman can offer. And I mean, with Mitrovic in the team, you're probably going to look at the style of firing balls up to him for him to hold up and then runners going beyond him. But obviously, it seems like Scott Parker doesn't feel as though that's the way he wants to go with his teams. It's been seen that Mitrovic has come off the bench an awful lot this season. And it's a strange one, but I can understand why Parker's done it. But for Mitrovic on an international level, he's doing very well for his country.
Obviously, those I think in the win against Republic of Ireland, I think it was, he became the all-time leading scorer for Serbia, which is a weird one because obviously they've got likes of Luka Jovic, who I think as he gets a bit older and gets a bit more game time, should definitely play ahead of Mitrovic. But it's just an interesting one to see how that is developing. In Group H, Cyprus managed to beat Slovenia 1-0. Slovenia were, of course, the team who went 2-0 down against Malta. An interesting result. I didn't really have Cyprus to beat Slovenia there. Jacob, would you have said otherwise?
To be honest with you, James, when you read them 2 teams out, I was thinking, James, please don't come to me because, as I said, these 2, I've got no genuine interest. If I look at it, I think obviously Slovenia, they've had experience in major tournaments, so we expect them to really win with their pedigree. But in terms of the footballing result, it's not one I will stay up till the end of the night and checking their results. No.
No, I mean, Slovenia are the definition of perennial England fixtures in the World Cup, aren't they? I mean,
Group B,
haven't we got them in? Haven't we got one of them as Slovakia in the Euros? Am I right in saying? Or is it someone else?
It always seems to me like it's either Slovenia or Slovakia in the last game of the three, and England need a win to progress into the last 16. And normally it ends in a goalless draw or 1-1, and it is so boring. And normally you'll get Wayne Rooney shouting down the camera at the end. Let's just see. But for me, Slovenia or Slovakia, I don't really care.
In terms of club football level, do you think that this international break has, been good for some of the teams like, say, Liverpool, whose core, Alisson, Fabinho, Firmino, a lot of those players have the time back at the club. Do you think it's good for the South American players to have some time off as well?
I think it's good for just a reset, isn't it? You mentioned Liverpool. They've had a tumultuous winter period, haven't they? And I think for the likes of the South Americans, like you said, Alisson, he's been going through some personal issues. Just having a couple of weeks off, just away from the fire almost, will do them a world of good. And I think that's for every single club. That everyone's had injuries, COVID issues, bad, form. Just having that break, if you're lucky enough, because you are quite lucky not to be part of this international fixture list. Just to reset, refresh, and just spend some time at home, really.
I think also, James, just before we do go on,
go on, Ryan.
I think it's worth noting. I think it's just as important for the top teams in football as it is. It's just as important for the bottom teams in football as it is the top teams, because they get to have a break in their season. They get to reevaluate and recharge their batteries, and ultimately, it's like a little mini season for them after the international break. They have to try and get a certain amount of points to avoid relegation, and this is their chance to sort of put a plan down and try and put it into practice after the international break.
Ryan's completely right, because you saw, I think with Ralph Hasenhüttl, he said he didn't want any of his players really going on an international break, especially for the likes of the smaller teams, like Ryan said. They've got smaller squads than the bigger clubs, so that 2-3 week period of rest could be vital for them.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. Ollie, what my point was going to be, do you think that this is one of the only international breaks, fans especially didn't want players for their club to go on international duty?
I think it's the timing as well. We're getting to the business end of every season. Like the boys said, both ends of the table in the Premier League, the Championship, Scottish Prem, teams are fighting for it. I think not necessarily Sheffield United, they're pretty much dead and buried, but they give a lot of players to Scotland and Ireland. Teams like that, Liverpool have got a lot of players. So either end in Scotland as well, Kilmarnock have got a massive task on their hands to stay in the Scottish Prem. Likewise, Rangers are giving a lot of players away on international due, but at both ends as well. So I completely agree. I completely agree with what the boys are saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and on that kind of club news, there was some big news that broke yesterday about Sergio Aguero leaving Manchester City. Obviously, he hasn't played too much. Neither has Jesus. Guardiola's made it quite clear, and he showed us that they can play without a recognised forward. They don't necessarily need someone in that striker position. Jacob, being the journalist amongst us all, do you think there's anywhere like a leading candidate for the signature of Sergio Aguero?
What, to replace him?
No, well, A, somewhere for him to go.
Yeah.
And B, who would come in? Do they need to get someone? But mainly, where do you think he's going to go? Because I've heard a few rumours, but I'm not too sure he's getting on now, isn't he?
I actually read an article about this about an hour before we came on air. You look at the teams around, there's obviously cash flow issues around Europe due to the pandemic and obviously mismanagement at the Spanish clubs. If you're looking at any team that one could afford Aguero and two need him, it's probably PSG. They've got money. Icardi's there, but he's not always the focal point that can provide the platform for the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. But it also depends on where does Aguero want to go. I know he said he wants to go back to Argentina one day at 33. Is he too young to go back just yet? He obviously can't go back to Real Madrid for money and obviously his ties with Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid got Luis Suarez. So do they want another Asian striker? So there's a lot of clubs that a couple of years ago would love Sergio Aguero, but given his form, his injury record, and the financial state of Europe really right now, there's not many options.
No, I totally agree. Ryan, do you think do City need to replace him? do they finally give Jesus the chance, or we've been proven this year that his injury record isn't too reliable? What do you think happens there?
Well, I think it speaks volumes that I don't think they'll be in any rush to sort of jump the gun and try and bring someone in to replace him, as you say. I mean, the options that they've got at the top end of the pitch are quite phenomenal. Anyone can play there. You've seen the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Raheem Sterling play up front, centrally, as well as Gabriel Jesus. So, in terms of replacing Aguero, do they need to? I don't think so. I think they've got that covered in the team that they've got.
Right, let's be honest. How scary would it be that City are winning this league at a canter without a striker, really, for most of their games? Imagine if they added a Haaland into that. I think, the competition and the gap between first and second is probably only get wider next year.
No, I agree totally, mate. I had that kind of thought myself. It's like Pep doesn't seem too bothered that they don't need to play a forward. It's really weird. But obviously they're slaying most of the teams in the league. Anyway, so we're about seconds away from all the kickoffs. I'll just give you a list of what we've got going on. So we have Belgium versus Belarus, Croatia versus Malta, Gibraltar versus the Netherlands, Luxembourg v Portugal. Ryan Honey's on that one. Montenegro, Norway. Harry Smith's on that one. Slovakia, Russia is bringing us up to date with that one. Turkey, Latvia with Jacob. The resident Welsh boy is in here. The Dragons with Ollie for Wales v the Czech Republic. And Charlie's going to be keeping us up to date of the interesting game with Republic of Ireland and Qatar. And I think, are we underway in most of your games, guys?
Yes, underway in Cardiff, mate.
Brilliant.
Just about to kick off in Luxembourg.
Okay. Oh, so we've got Hayden. Is that a bit of a delayed kickoff going on in Gibraltar? What's going on, mate?
Yeah, just a minute's silence for the people who've lost their lives to COVID. The game is about to kick off now. It was a rendition of the last post. Genuinely quite moving, actually, to see this. Gibraltar have been allowed a small section of fans for this one, so there were some nice tributes put up in the stand while it was playing. Genuinely a really moving tribute for probably one of the first public gatherings Gibraltar's had for quite a long time.
Wonder whether Dillian White will be watching that one. Let's go around the grounds now, just as we've started. Let's start in Belgium at Dendreef in Havel. Luke Wallace, any goals? Anything going on?
No, nothing at all yet. We have literally just kicked off. Belgium played the ball down the right and won a throw, and they're currently on the halfway line with the ball. Absolutely nothing going on here at the minute.
I think there might be some goals in that one. I'm hoping there will be. Ryan, score prediction for your game. What do you think it's going to be?
Score prediction, that's a tough one. I mean, Portugal are coming into this one hoping to get the job done. They're fielding a very strong team. Ronaldo, Jota and João Felix up front for them, by no means weak. But I mean, Luxembourg come into this off the back of that 1-0 win against Ireland. So their confidence will be sky high. I think it'll be tough for Portugal, but I do think that they'll come away with a win. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how some of the Luxembourg players, like I think it's Gerson Rodriguez, hopefully he's playing. Should be interesting to see how he does. Plays his club football in Ukraine with Dynamo Kiev. Charlie Parker, have we seen anything at all from Qatar so far?
No, it's Jeff Hendricks just had a shot from outside the box. It's hit a Qatar player. He's down at the moment. He's slow to get up, but he looks fine. 2 minutes in, it's still 0-0.
I'm sure that will please the Irish to see them actually have a shot on goal. Ollie, are you nervous? Are you getting a bit tense sitting there?
I am. It's a massive game. I think, if Wales lose this, they're going to be really struggling to qualify for the World Cup. Czech Republic coming off a really good result against Belgium. They've just got a shot away. Oh, no. Saved by Daniel Ward. But, it's a tense start already. We're only 2.5 minutes in. Still 0-0.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was watching and obviously thinking that they probably are your direct rivals for that second place. So, it's going to be quite interesting. And I think if you do beat them now, then you do give yourself a good chance, but it's going to be a really, really tough game. Anyway, we're going to head over to Jacob Tanswell in Turkey. What's been going on there?
Wow, there has been a fast start, and luckily Karaman is the guy that scored it for Turkey. It was a good start from Turkey, literally from kickoff. The red bodies went forward, and Karaman off the right-hand flag curled inside and curled it into the far post. It's 1-0 to Turkey against Latvia.
Turkey continuing their best start ever in a World Cup qualifying campaign with that goal there. It probably looks like it might be a long night for Latvia. Let's go to Matas. How's it going in Slovakia?
Yeah, it's still 0-0 4 minutes in, but Russia had a good chance with Golovin from a long range free kick, trying to score a goal, and just the ball goes just outside the left post. But still, Russia so far is dominating this game, and it's 4 minutes in, 0-0.
Yeah, probably one of the toughest ones to call there. Not too sure myself. There's been a chance at Aluminium Stadium in Cardiff. I'm going to go Czech Republic, Johnson.
You are wrong. It was almost a calamity by the Czech keeper. Honest, it was Kadela passed it. Andre Kadela passed it back to Vaclik, and he didn't really know what he was going to do with the ball. The keeper, he sort of played it about with his feet. Meanwhile, Harry Wilson came storming through. The keeper slipped and just scuffed the ball out for a throw-in. Almost an absolute calamity, and almost 1-0 to Wales.
Yeah, he doesn't. Vaclik doesn't really play for Sevilla. He played last season, but they brought in Bunu, the Moroccan, who's been playing most of the season. So a bit of a weird one. Not too much going on there. We're just going to head to Harry Smith in Podgorica, in Montenegro. How's it started there?
Well, Martin Odegaard took a corner on the right-hand side, whipped it in with his left foot, and it fell all the way to Erling Haaland at the back post. And I thought that he was going to smash it into the goal, but he completely miskicked it, and it's still 0-0 here.
Yeah, good to see him back in the form, playing some good football. Will please the Arsenal fans. Charlie Parker, there's been a goal at your game in Hungary. Please say it's been for Ireland.
It has been for Ireland. It's been a fantastic start from Ireland. It's a corner for them. It goes short to Daryl Horgan. He finds James McLean on the edge of the box, who taps it in. It gets deflected. And Qatar's actually just been given a penalty as I'm speaking on the other side of the pitch. Qatar's gone straight down. The goalkeeper has taken down Pedro Miguel on the edge of the box. It looks like he's given the penalty. It's close, but Qatar have a penalty straight after. Wait, that looks outside the box, but this should come back for a free kick.
Well, we'll come back to it in a minute. I knew it was too good to be true for the Irish. Jack Bishop, how's it going in Croatia? Oh, I don't think he's there. We'll come back to a minute. We'll head back to Charlie, see if that penalty is a penalty or a free kick. Charlie Parker.
The referee's still talking about it. Gavin Bazuna, the Irish goalkeeper, has come flying out to the far left side of the box. And he's changed his mind. It looks like it is a free kick.
Do you think it? So a bit of luck there for the Irish. So we're just had a few issues with Jack. We'll get to him soon. Hayden, how's it started in Gibraltar? Netherlands took the lead yet?
They have not, surprisingly. Quite a competitive game so far, actually. Nothing really so far, although Netherlands did just have a little bit of a half chance. But it was pulled back for offside. And when I say a half chance, I mean a little bit past on the edge of the box, and it was offside. So not a lot going on in this one so far, to be honest with you, James. But it's still 0-0 here at Victoria Park.
Ryan Honey, we'll come back to you. How's the game started?
Well, it started pretty evenly, quite surprisingly. I mean, Portugal had a fair amount of possession early on, but after 7 minutes, I'd say Luxembourg are giving it quite a go. They're in the faces of Portugal and then forcing them back on most occasions. But they're coming forward here down the left with Renato Sanchez. It's inside to Diogo Jota. He's gone on the overlap. It's Jota across the box, and keeper does well to claim it. Still 0-0 here after 7.5 minutes.
I don't know too much about Luxembourg. How do they look like they like to play?
Well, it's hard to see after the first 7 minutes, as they've not seen as much as the ball as Portugal, although they are playing pretty well when they have had it. They're trying to play out from the back quite a bit. They're doing quite well to play between the lines, but they have almost lost it. Oh, they have lost it. It's at the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva across to Renato Sanchez. Oh, it's João Felix in the area. It's unbelievable from Portugal. Mesmerising stuff, but Luxembourg do well to get it clear through Oliver Phil. and regroup again as Sadimi wins a throw-in on halfway.
Looks like the pattern is well and truly set in for that game. So let's go back to Jacob, the only game with a goal. Any sign of any more?
No, not at the moment, but Turkey are in firm control, to be honest with you. Latvia, just now, they can't string a pass together at the moment. They're playing 4-2-3-1, and at the moment, they're finding it really difficult to thread anything through central areas. So Onchu is just having the ball at his feet with no pressure, and Turkey look in control of this at the moment, still 1-0.
At the moment, as it stands, Turkey 3-3, top of their group, and looking very good value for their lead. They were one of the quickest sides to get through to the 2020 Euros when the qualifying process was. So I don't know if we are too surprised that they are playing quite well. Let's head back to Ollie Johnson. How's it going?
Oh, we've seen the first Connor Roberts long throws, but they were defended very well by the Czech Republic. I've got to be honest, Kufal's looking very dangerous on the counter-attack. He seems to be beating Nico Williams for every ball. Although Nico Williams did get a good challenge in and win a throw-in. But yeah, pretty even game. I think Wales have had the better. But yeah, defensively, Czech looking very good.
Yeah, I think that game's kind of started how we'd expect to, having a bit of both teams in action. Luke Wallace, let's head to you in Belgium. Roberto Martinez's side asserting their possession control as usual.
Absolutely, they are. It's been absolutely all Belgium. No chances at all to report of for Belarus. Michy Batshuayi has had the best chance of the game so far. It was a ball floated in over the top, and he was onside by just the finest of margins, but aimed it straight at Guto, who was able to save and tip it over for a corner. Still 0-0 here.
It'd be nice to see Michy Batshuayi actually get some goals, because I don't know who's he playing for these days. Do you know?
He's still at Crystal Palace at the minute.
Oh, of course he is. He's not playing much, is he?
No, but with the form,
it was a weird one.
You'd hardly be surprised.
No, but it's a bit of a weird one. I've noticed that from Roberto Martinez. Is he does like to pick players who don't necessarily play at club level, but he's got quite a good trust with them. Would you say that's a weird thing to do, or do you think it's okay to do in these kind of games?
Well, it's kind of similar to the Mitrovic situation you were talking about earlier. Maybe against a team like Belarus tonight, it gives him the chance to find that confidence. But the likes of Dries Mertens and Kevin De Bruyne and co are all on the bench tonight, so he's really got to make a statement if he wants that spot more regularly.
Yeah, with all those names on the bench, you'd definitely be looking behind him. There's been another chance at the Cardiff City Stadium, Ollie Johnson.
Yes, what was I just saying about the Czech Republic counter-attack? Brilliant bit of play. Jankto on the edge of the box got a shot away. He should have been closed down. It was poor defending, really. But just went wide of the post. And Danny Ward may have had it covered, but it was definitely the first dangerous attack of the game.
Still 0-0 in that one. Let's see if we can get to Jack Bishop now. Jack, you there? How's it going in Croatia?
Hi, James. Sorry, I had some technical issues as you tried to throw over to us earlier, but I am here.
That's all right, no worries.
Yeah, just before you threw to me there, probably the best chance of the game so far as Malta were able to break away down the left wing. Unfortunately, the winger just didn't have too much support and ended up having to take a shot from a tight angle into the keeper's arms. But yeah, Malta not really looking too in awe of the opponents they come up against today. Of course, Croatia ranked 11th in the world, Malta 176th. But you wouldn't think so with how it's going so far. Malta really giving them a good go, and it's been a more even game in the first 10 minutes than I certainly would have expected. But as it is, still Croatia 0, Malta 0.
Yeah, as you probably expect, like you said, given the 2-2 draw at the weekend, they don't get many good results, Malta, so I'm sure that draw felt like a win. It looks like they're carrying it on in the first half in Croatia. Matas in Slovenia, has there been any chances of note yet?
No chances so far, but Russia is trying just to kick long balls towards their striker Artyom Zuba, but so far it's just ball is around the halfway line all the time and nothing really is happening. But Russia just keeping it going. So far, Slovakia had no chances. It's still Slovakia 0, Russia 0.
Brilliant stuff. Jacob Tanswell, has there been a chance? Any more chances? Are Turkey still in control of the game against Latvia?
No, Latvia have just had a chance. I think it was their first venture into the Turkey half. It reminded me a bit like school football in a way, how the way of their getting up to the pitch was exclusively through throw-ins. They had a couple, they managed to get into the box, and it was Udrikis who headed over. But Turkey are looking like they are quickly speeding up the attack now. Yilmaz has the ball. Stay with me, James. On the edge of the box, he shoots, but he goes straight at the keeper. 14 minutes in, Turkey 1, Latvia 0.
Let's head back to Charlie Parker. We never really got to understand what was going on with that penalty/free kick decision. What's the news?
It was a free kick, but the free kick was hit straight at the wall. They put it back in. There was a lot of heading up and around the air, but Ali comes in for the heading. It's great save by the goalkeeper, but he was offside. In the meantime, Qatar have dominated possession until now, where Ireland have suddenly got a corner, and we're just waiting for them to take it in. It's still 1-0 Ireland.
Brilliant stuff. Let's head over to Montenegro now. Harry Smith.
Hello, yeah. No more chances here, to be honest. Montenegro have set up really organised. They're just sitting back on the edge of their own box, really. And Odegaard's gotten the ball quite a lot, played a couple of his trademark reverse passes, but no real clear-cut chances other than that Haaland one early on. That didn't really count as a shot because he completely miskicked it. But no, it's still 0-0 here.
There's been a goal at Den Dreef in Belgium. Luke Wallace, will I be surprised as to who it's gone to? I think you're on mute, unfortunately, Luke.
I'm on mute. There we go. Ever the professional. It only took Belgium 15 minutes to score. It's a lovely give and go on the edge of the area. And the ball comes back to Michy Batshuayi. He's on the left-hand side of the goal. Tight angle. He blasts it past the keeper into the roof of the net. Belgium 1, Belarus 0.
And there's me saying he's not in good form. He shuts me right up. Hayden Baker, has anything happened on the Rock so far?
On the Rock, there's a lot of blocks at the moment defending Gibraltar. They've been
joke of the night.
Yeah, no, we like our dad banter here. Yeah, it's been resolute defending from Gibraltar, who, to be fair, for the first time in this game, are actually starting to attack Netherlands now. They've just won a throw in quite an advanced area, and they've just frustrated Netherlands. Really, they've been limited to about one shot, maybe a bit of a half chance for Memphis Depay that kind of trickled past the post. But honestly, they really don't look like breaking them down at the moment. It's quarter of an hour gone, still 0-0.
Yeah, just going to bring you a few full times from the European Under-21 Championships. Germany 0, Romania 0, Netherlands Under-21 6, Hungary 1, Italy 0, Slovenia 0 is a latest kickoff. Let's head back to Ryan Honey.
Yeah, still 0-0 here in Luxembourg, Portugal. Luxembourg have actually grown into the game in the opening 16 minutes, having a lot of the ball in the last 5-6 minutes or so, and pushing their fullbacks up. Laurent Jans and Michael Pinto both seeing a lot of the ball in wide areas, and Senani is having a few opportunities in the box as well. They've managed to get the ball into him a few times, but the ball hasn't quite fallen for him. But Luxembourg, after the first 16 and a half minutes, they're definitely the ones growing in confidence.
On the subject of the under-21s, as I just mentioned them, I'm going to ask this to you, Jacob, actually. What went on with England in the under-21s in the two games they had against Switzerland and Portugal?
Well, they're struggling for goals, aren't they? I think you've looked at England through under-21s throughout the last couple of tournaments, and they always fail to deliver on their potential. We can all see England's potential. You look at the lineup they had, like Smith Rowe, Ben Godfrey, Eddie Nketiah, and yet they can't seem to score. And at the moment, going back the other way, they can't seem to defend either. Eddie Boothroyd, I think, is going to have to come under a lot of pressure because he failed in the previous tournament. And he looks like he's failed in this one, as they seem to be going crashing out at the group stages. So there's a lot of questions to be answered for the under-21 setup.
Yeah, it was a very weird one. I thought, looking at the team, you have the likes of Ryan Sessegnon, Dwight McNeil, all on the bench. Those kind of players who I thought would play because they are regulars at club level. But he set up a really weird team. Do you reckon the team selection has something to do with it?
Well, they've got such a wealth of talent, haven't they? The under-21 team. They could have had more had Jude Bellingham, for example, wasn't included in the first team squad. It's a case of AD Boothroyd not really knowing his best team because he hasn't really got a lot of time to work with them. I think that's probably more likely, but for sure he hasn't got his team selection right over the last 2 games.
Yes, just updates on some of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. There's a 3-1 win for Ivory Coast against Ethiopia, goals by Willy Bolly, who recently switched allegiance from France, and Frank Kessie, who scored the infamous hand goal that wasn't even a goal against United in Europa League recently. Algeria won as well against Lesotho, goals for Victor Osimhen and Etibo, formerly of Stoke. Let's head back to The Rock. Hayden Baker, any chances?
A really good chance, actually, as soon as you left me for the Netherlands. A cross comes in, goalkeeper blocks it away, but it fell back to Memphis Depay, who volleyed it from about a yard out. And it was incredible reaction from the goalkeeper. Unfortunately, for him, it was straight into his face to turn it around for a corner. But a really good chance for Netherlands, who were hit on the break pretty quickly afterwards, actually. A long ball was remarkably effective for Gibraltar that sent De Jong through on goal. He had a bit of a nasty collision with Tim Krul where he was kneed in the head, but he is okay, back on his feet now. Netherlands have another chance, actually. And again, scrambled away by Gibraltar, who are defending resolutely here. It is still 0-0.
Let's head back to Belgium. I think there's been a goal. Luke Wallace.
I'm unmuted this time on the first attempt, James. It's 2-0 for Belgium. It's another beautiful ball from Thomas Meunier into the box. And it comes to Hans van Aken, who had never scored for his national side. He has now. It's from the similar position to what Michy Batshuayi found himself in much earlier in the game. The only difference is this time Belgium were able to finish the chance. 2-0.
Yeah, Thomas Meunier, always a threat going down the wing, putting those balls in the box. And Van Aken, the Club Brugge midfielder, bangs it into the net. Harry Smith, has there been a chance in Montenegro, for Norway?
Yeah, Norway have just come really close, actually. The ball fell to Morten Thorsby on the edge of the box, who hit it on the full volley. He didn't get the best of connections on it, but it kind of trickled towards the right-hand post, and the keeper was scrambling. I'm not sure he had it fully covered if it was going in, but it did go wide. Other than that, Montenegro have counter-attacked a couple of times with Stefan Jovetic, who looked really strong on the counter-attack, driving through the middle. But yeah, it was Norway who came the closest. 0-0 here still.
Stefan Jovetic, what a throw about that is. Didn't even know he was still kicking around. Jacob Tansworth, has any more action in Turkey?
Yes, Turkey came close to doubling their lead and Karaman getting his second goal of the game. It's just started to rain here, actually, in Istanbul, and it kind of reflects Latvia's start to the game. It's been quite dreadful, in all honesty. Yilmaz, as ever, the talisman, he's just got the ball now, actually. Plays a thread pass through to Kalungi, but it's straight to the keeper's hands. But yeah, Yilmaz is causing problems for the Latvian midfield. The likes of Msis and Tobus are getting overloaded in the central areas. And Karaman ran onto the ball. He was through and goal 1v1, but his effort just went wide of the post. 22 minutes in, Turkey 1, Latvia 0.
The woodwork has been struck in Rijeka. Jack Bishop.
Yeah, action at both ends here, James, in just a matter of a couple of minutes. First of all, it was a good cross from the right by Juranovic, the fullback marauding forward for Croatia. Budimir got on the end of it from inside the 6-yard box, and it actually pinged off the crossbar. Potentially could have done better there. Really good chance for Budimir. And then just a couple of minutes later, at the other end, it's Tiumu who's swung across in from the left for Malta. He's causing some problems. It was him who had the chance that I talked about earlier. This time it was blocked by Domagoj Vida, the defender you might remember from the last World Cup, was very good for Croatia. But there's appeals that he might have handled the ball in blocking it. The referee was quick to wave them away. And of course, no VAR in these qualifiers, so nothing to look at. But yeah, still 0-0 here, but a lot of action and a really end-to-end game, really entertaining so far.
Yeah, good to see Malta giving it a real go. Let's head back to Charlie Parker in Hungary in the friendly between Republic and Qatar. What's going on?
Robbie Brady seemed to been injured off the ball. He's gone down. It looked like a hamstring injury, but he's come off. He's been replaced by Troy Parrott. It's still 1-0 Ireland, 22 minutes in.
not ideal for Robbie Brady and either for Sean Dyche because they don't have many players at Burnley at the best of times. Let's head to Jacob Tanswell. He did give us a good gasp then. Something must have happened.
Yes, Latvia again. I know I'm not saying they're playing very well, but they are direct, and their forward up front, Eudycus, is causing all sorts of problems for Kabak and Sionchu, who are experienced, especially Sionchu in the Premier League. It was a corner. Turkey failed to clear it, and it was just an absolute goal line scramble in the box that must have lasted 5-6 seconds. Sionchu managed to clear the ball, but Latvia, although they can't seem to string a pass together, they've had 2 really good chances. It's still Turkey 1, Latvia 0.
Would you describe their football as Stoke City-esque?
It is the international version of Stoke City, currently Sean Dyche's Burnley, yes.
It's not a rainy night in Stoke, it's a rainy night in Istanbul. Ollie Johnson, anything going on in Wales?
It's been a frustrating game at both ends. I mean, the Czech Republic had a really good chance, came from Yankto again, hit the side netting, didn't really test Danny Ward goal, but it was definitely a very good chance again by the attacking midfield player. At the other end, Wales are getting a lot of opportunities to use their long throws and corners with the tall team that they are, and they should not get anywhere. The Czech Republic are defending very well. Still 0-0, 24 minutes gone.
Yes, in the only game in the Football League, Carlisle are winning 2-0 against Crawley in League 2. That was a 7 o'clock kickoff, 50 minutes played, the only game. The other game was postponed. Let's head to Ryan Honey. What's going on?
Well, James, not much has really happened since you last came to me. Luxembourg still seeing a lot of the ball. However, Portugal, with their quality going forward, have had a few counter-attacks. You'd have thought it might have been the other way around. But it has been Luxembourg with a lot of possession and Portugal working on the counter-attack. And they almost did take advantage of one of their counter-attacks. Diogo Jota went away down the left after Vincent Jansz went up down the right for Luxembourg. And he should have done better, really. But he pulled it back to Ronaldo. He couldn't really get it out of his feet and get the shot away. And Luxembourg regained possession. It's been a key pattern in this game so far. And it's a lovely switch again from Luxembourg, who just seemed to be so confident in possession after 25 minutes, still 0-0.
Yeah, definitely riding the high of that win against Ireland. Diogo Jota, he's been really good since he's come back for Liverpool. He bagged 2 goals against Serbia at the weekend. Do you think he's going to be pivotal not only in the league and the Champions League for Liverpool this season, but also in the Euros in the summer?
Well, I think so. I mean, he's still got plenty of years ahead of him. He's only young. And he's doing it on the biggest stage on international level, and he's doing it on the biggest stage domestically as well with Liverpool. So I mean, he's definitely got a hell of a lot of potential, and it's just a case of getting that out of him. But as things stand, he's doing everything he needs to.
No VAR or anything in Turkey, but there has been a goal disallowed. Jacob Tanswell.
Yes, I'm not quite sure. Once again, it is the Burnley equivalent. Latvia, corner ball, seems to have issues at the moment. Turkey defending that corner. A looping outswing cross. It seems like Marcus hit us, rose above everyone, scored. Lovely clean header, but yet the referee has blown for an apparent push. Personally, I didn't see anything wrong with it. And Latvia, for all their issues and all my criticism of them, are really growing into the game and causing Sionchu and Kabak all sorts of problems. It's still 1-0 Turkey.
The halftime whistle has gone in the World Cup qualification second stage of the Asian bracket. Saudi Arabia 4-0 up against Palestine, and earlier Japan beat Mongolia 14-0. Right, next up, let's head back to Matas in Slovakia. How's it going?
Still 0-0 over here, but Slovakia playing dirty. Got hit by the elbow. Got hit by the elbow from Duda and spent a few minutes on the ground. And right now Fernandes is getting treatment as well. But so far it's just all Russia playing down the right side to Fernandes or Golovin, and Slovakia just can't get hold of the ball. Russia is dominating. So it's still 27 minutes in, Slovakia 0, Russia 0.
Let's head to Ollie Johnson in Cardiff. I saw a bit of a yelp on the screen. What's going on?
I'm absolutely gutted. It's brilliant defending. I think it was Cadella. It was Andre Cadella, actually. Gareth Bale, almost a beautiful through ball. Harry Wilson was miles onside. It just took a little deflection to take it out wide. if that hadn't been deflection, Harry Wilson was in 1-on-1 with the keeper. That could have very easily been a first goal for Wales, but still 0-0, unfortunately.
Let's head to Hungary and Charlie Parker. Has there been any more chances of note? Qatar finally showing any signs of, a decent footballing side?
Well, Qatar have been dominating possession, but the left back Hassan has gifted Shane Long a brilliant chance. And we said earlier, if Ireland are relying on Shane Long, there's an issue. And Shane Long has missed a sitter from close range. He just shoots it straight at the goalkeeper. 27 minutes played, 1-0 Ireland.
Jacob Tanswell, you don't seem too surprised at that one, mate.
No, not at all. I think if you look through Shane Long's career, the first thing you think is, I wouldn't say it's exactly surprising that he'd missed such a clear-cut chance. If anything, if he scored a goal, you'd be thoroughly surprised. So, yeah, hopefully good old Shane Long can have that luck of the Irish and maybe make up for his error.
Hayden Baker, Gibraltar in search of their first ever World Qualifier or Euro Qualifier win. Are they any close to finding a goal against the Netherlands?
Much less close than when you came to me earlier, to be honest. That little glimmer of chance was pretty much all they've had so far. It kind of feels like it's a matter of time before the Netherlands get a goal here. A couple of really strong saves from Dale Coling in goal, especially one absolute pile driver from Gigi Wijnaldum from the edge of the box, came right down to his right at the bottom corner. Fantastic save. But they're just queuing up to score here, Netherlands. They really should be 1-0 ahead. Denzel Dumfries missed an open goal, really, with his head at one point about 5 minutes ago. But it's a matter of time, really, before Netherlands get their goal. It's half an hour gone, still 0-0.
Harry Smith, does Erling Haaland look any closer to ending his drought of 4 games without a goal?
Well, it's not been his evening so far. The ball got cut back to him from the byline and he tried an audacious little back heel, completely missed it again. And then it fell towards Odegaard, who pulled it back for Svensson, whose shot was deflected just wide of the left-hand post and nothing came from the corner. But it is still 0-0 here.
Right, there's been a goal in Luxembourg. I'm not too sure who. Ryan Honey.
Oh, James, it's unbelievable. Luxembourg have taken the lead against Portugal inside half an hour. It's a brilliant ball into the box from Oliver Phil. And it's just an in-swinger and it's just begging to be touched. And Rodriguez, the man who got the goal against Ireland at the weekend, is the guy to get the touch past Diego Lopez and into the back of the net. Luxembourg lead 1-0, 30 minutes played.
Putting himself in the shop window. Do you reckon he's good for any clubs in English football?
Who, Rodriguez?
Yeah. Do you think anyone be sniffing around him?
I'll tell you what, James. He actually looks a player. From what I saw of him in the Ireland game and so far in the game against Portugal, he's running the show for him. Every time he gets on the ball, little tricks, little flicks. He's definitely their main man. And going forward, they'll be wanting to get the ball to him if they're going to get someone out of this game.
So, biggest shock of the night at the moment is in Luxembourg, where Portugal are losing 1-0 to Luxembourg. Right, let's head to Luke Wallace. It's 2-0 Belgium in that game. Any more chances to note of?
There was almost a very, very bad piece of defending from Albania. Ball went down into the corner. 2 players went over to try and see it out. It didn't go. It came back to Meunier, who crossed the ball in, but it's gone out for a corner. The corner's about to come in, but Albania have barely been out of their half, which is almost a matter of time until the third. Corner comes in now, and it's headed away. So, yeah, still 2-0 here.
Saudi Arabia have got a 5th in their game against Palestine. Let's head to Jack Bishop. Any more chances in Croatia?
Croatia just starting to play a bit more as you would expect them to now, James. They are dominating a bit more. It was a really good chance, or so it looked, for Budimir is going through one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Bonello, but he was flagged offside in the end. But yeah, is the goalkeeper keeping the score at 0-0 for Malta at the minute. He's really having a good display out there. But as I say, Malta certainly not backing down either. They're not looking to sit back and take the draw. I think possibly spurred on by the 2 goals they scored against Slovenia the other night. They are opting to continue to attack a bigger nation, which is great to see. But with just over half an hour gone here, it is still 0-0.
Yeah, like Jack said, half an hour gone. We've only got goals in 3 games. Belgium lead Belarus 2-0, courtesy of a goal from Mitsi Batshuayi. And I'm not sure who the other one was from. I've actually forgotten. Luxembourg are leading Portugal 1-0. Rodriguez just bagged that one, so a bit of an upset on the cards there. And Turkey are leading in Latvia. Jacob, has anything happened?
Yes, there's been a goal.
Animated. Oh, there's been a goal, has there?
Turkey have doubled their lead. If you thought this game was going to be the boring game of the lot, you'd be thoroughly wrong. 33 minutes in, it's been end to end. Erkin was the one that had the initial corner. His strike hit the crossbar after the keeper deflected it onto the crossbar. A corner comes in. Latvia cleared the lines, but Kalagulu was there on the edge of the box, volleying the rebound. He went for a sea of bodies. The keeper, I think, was unsighted by it, and he just stood there with his hands up in the air thinking, it's 2-0. I'm not sure what's quite happening, but hold on a minute. Latvia in the edge of the box, driving to the byline. Chance. Goal! Latvia. 2-1. 2-1. I am really, really delighted that actually I chose this game. I always knew this game was going to be good.
Yeah. Sure you did.
It was actually Savage Neeks who scored the goal. Latvia drove to the byline and he was there for the cutback. It's now 2-1. They pulled one back a minute after conceding. Really good response from Latvia.
Well, they have looked shaky so far. Obviously, the centre-backs of Kabak and Soyuncu.
Kabak got drawn to the ball and the boys went over the top of him, and Soyuncu, he lost his marker as well. So 2 centre-backs, both at fault for the goal.
That's what you get when you sign a defender from a team sitting bottom of the Bundesliga and haven't won one game all season. There's been a chance in Luxembourg. Ryan Honey.
No, that has. I mean, Luxembourg just seem to be growing in confidence. Every time they get on the ball, it's like they want it. And it is really showing. There was a long ball forward from Luxembourg. They managed to get it into the corner. And Nuno Mendes, the Portugal left back, looked like he was going to deal with it. But Senani closed him down and won the ball off of him. And it looked as though there was nothing going to happen. And he drove at Ruben Diaz. And just to emphasise the confidence that the side are playing with, he scooped the ball over Manchester City and Portugal defender Ruben Diaz into the path of Rodriguez, who scored the goal about 5 minutes ago. But it just wouldn't fall to him, and the chance went. But Luxembourg are playing extremely well and deservedly ahead, 1-0.
There's finally been a goal in Montenegro. Has it gone to Erling Haaland, Harry Smith?
It is not Erling Haaland. It is his teammate Solent, and it's probably the easiest goal he will ever score in his career. It was completely made by El Yunusi. Some really good work down the left-hand side, drove down to the byline before cutting it across the face of goal. And Solent, all he had to do was open up his foot and tap it into the empty net. But it is 1-0 Norway here in Montenegro.
No, he has looked good ever since he left Crystal Palace. Obviously, banged the goals in last season with Trabzonspor in Turkey and hasn't had too much of time on the pitch at RB Leipzig, but he does look good in a Norway shirt. Ollie Johnson, you're getting very animated there, mate. Something must be going on.
Absolutely furious. How Gareth Bale hasn't made it, I do not know. Nico Williams has been absolutely brilliant this half. I mentioned in the first 5 minutes he was struggling. Since then, he's been absolutely fantastic. Beat Kofal on his man every single challenge. Down the wing, ball into the box. Gareth Bale's unmarked, hits the ball straight at the floor and bounces straight onto the crossbar. How he didn't score there, I have no idea. He's got another chance straight at the wall again. Unbelievable. I don't know how we're not 1-0 up.
Would you say you're having the better of the game?
Yeah, definitely for the past 5 minutes. I think Jacob's saying Latvia are the international version of Burnley and Stoke. I think Czech Republic can give them a run for their money for the past all they've been before. So, yeah, still 0-0, about 8 minutes left in the first half.
Let's head to Belgium. Luke Wallace, has anything been happening to Belgium in complete control? And remember, they are playing Belarus and not Albania, as you said about 3 times last time I came to you.
Have I? I thought I might have been. If ever there was evidence, I had no idea what I was talking about. That's it right there. No, actually, in fact, it's Belarus who have actually been in control of possession since the last time he came to me. They've got the ball now. It's inside their own half. They're kind of passing it around towards the halfway line. They've just made it into the Belgian half for probably only the 3rd time in this game, but they've already lost possession and Belgium have it back again. So the game kind of dying out here as we head towards half-time. Still 2-0.
One of the toughest games to call over in Slovakia, but there has been a goal. Matas Baranauskas.
Yes, it was goal against the run-up to play because corner by Slovakia, and one and only Milan Skriniar with a beautiful header in the far post. And until this moment, like, Russia dominated the game, but in the last few minutes, like, Slovakia just picked up the pace, and beautiful header by Milan Skriniar to put Slovakia into the lead. 1-0 Slovakia against Russia.
Jacob Tanswell, have the Latvian defence managed to keep Burak Yilmaz quiet?
No, they haven't at the moment. I thought international football was supposed to be boring. The last 5 minutes, there's been goals. It's pouring now. Burak Yilmaz just whipped a free kick just past the post, and then he is due to follow into a WWE, some sort of fight with the Latvian defenders. It's all kicking off. There's been 9 chances for Turkey, 3 for Latvia. There's been about 25 fouls. This is just like watching League Two, and I'm loving it. It's Turkey 2, Latvia 1.
We only saw him a minute ago, but let's head back to Luke Wallace in Belgium. There's been another goal.
Well, I said I had no idea what I was talking about, and I was absolutely right. It wasn't possession-based football this time for Belgium. It was a wonderful counter-attack. And coming into this game in his 5 previous caps, Leandro Trossard had never scored for Belgium. Well, he's a man growing in confidence, and he's finally got his first goal for the national team. A brilliant goal. He shot from outside the box. It sailed straight into the top right corner. 3-0.
I'm sure that makes a certain Hayden Baker quite happy. He has been in quite good form recently. Let's head to Ollie Johnson, chance in Cardiff.
Yeah, down the other end this time, I think. Schick, first appearance in the game, beat his man. I think it was Joe Rodon, but completely mishit his shot. It's the first time really that Danny Ward's been tested in goal. Still 0-0, 5 minutes to go.
Let's head back to Charlie Parker. Anything going on in Hungary?
A lot of outside the box shots, nothing really inside. But Ireland continued to play out of the back. Bazuna passed it to Montari, but Montari has been pushed off by Shane Duffy, does brilliantly to make it go out for a goal kick. Just possession football for Ireland near their box. Qatar can't really break through right at the moment. 39 minutes played, still 1-0 Ireland.
Yeah, as you'd expect, Ireland offering a bit, but I'm sure the fans won't be too happy. After all, it is against Qatar. They'd rather it happen in the games that matter. Hayden Baker, what's going on in Gibraltar? Are Netherlands any closer to a goal? Because I would have expected them to have taken the lead by now.
Well, they've had another fantastic chance just now. Davy Klaassen, literally point blank range inside the 6-yard box with a powerhouse of a shot. And again, it was a fantastic save from Dale Coling. He's having the game of his life, to be honest, tonight. They just can't seem to get it in, Netherlands, and they can't seem to be making enough clear chances. They had another ball in the box here, drifted out for a goal kick. Honestly, it's been a defensive masterclass from Gibraltar. For a team at their ranking to be holding off Netherlands the way they are is really impressive so far. We're coming to the end of the first half and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, about 5 minutes left across the ground. Ryan Honey, have Portugal shown any signs of getting back into the game?
They have. Since that flick from Senani I mentioned earlier, they've sort of flipped a switch. Luxembourg aren't doing that to us. It's sort of like that. They've had a lot of possession last 5 minutes or so, and Renato Sanchez probably should have scored. It was a good play from João Cancelo down the right. He pulled it back to the central midfielder who'd made his way up into the box, but his shot lacked conviction, and Morris in the Luxembourg goal dealt with comfortably. But I just want to mention before I do go back to you, James, João Felix quite innocuously went down with an injury and has been substituted for Pedro Neto. Still 1-0 here. Luxembourg lead 1-0.
Yeah, hopefully not too serious for João Felix. He's had quite a good season with Atletico, struck up quite a good partnership with Luis Suarez, but not a bad player to come on and place him, is it? Pedro Neto, one of probably the best young players in the Premier League. Let's head to Jack Bishop. How's it going in Croatia?
Well, since I last spoke to you, James, it's been all Croatia, to be honest. They're finally starting to just get up Malta and dominate them as they should. Still unable to score, but they've created a couple of good chances. First of all, there was a really good ball through, or so it looked, from Orsic, but just cut out by the last man of Malta. Croatia, interestingly, really opting to play Budimir himself through on goal, rather than get it wide and cross to him. I'd have thought of him as much more of a target man than a player to put him behind. But they are trying to play it in the middle and keep it narrow and get him threw on goal for a one-on-one. As I say, the one cross that he has got on the end of was from 6 yards out, and he hit the crossbar. So perhaps that's the thinking in keeping it narrow for him. But yeah, Croatia really dominating possession in the last 10 or so minutes, but not quite able to find a breakthrough as yet. With 2 minutes left of the first half, it is Croatia 0, Malta 0.
There's one game that's getting all the goals, and it's in Belgium. Luke Wallace, what's happened now?
Yeah, it's a brilliant goal from Belgium. Again, it's not really a possession-based goal. It's picked up in the middle of the field, and there's a wonderful ball played through to Jeremy Doku, who's just 18 years old. He's only scored one goal all season for his club, Stade Rennais, but you wouldn't be able to tell. He marches through the Belarus half and slots into the back of the net to make it 4-0.
Yeah, the young Belgium who moved from Anderlecht in the summer. Let's head to Luxembourg. Ryan Honey.
Yes, and I thought Luxembourg's league was then going to be cancelled as Renato Sanchez took aim from range. Ronaldo did brilliantly down the right to get away from his man, and he just invitingly played the ball into Renato Sanchez, who's been heavily involved for Portugal so far in this game. And he just thought, why not? And he let fly. And Morris, who hasn't really been tested so far in this game, was brought into action with an acrobatic save. Renato Sanchez so very nearly levelling proceedings, but it's still 1-0 Luxembourg after 44 minutes.
Hayden Baker, have Netherlands managed to break the deadlock yet?
It's the old commentator's curse. They finally have on the 41st minute. It was really quite fitting how this goal kind of came about. It was another half chance for Netherlands, really, where they were trying to get the ball in, and Gibraltar were just scrambling, blocking shot after shot. But one block finally fell to a Dutch head, and it was Steven Berghuis who picks it up on his left foot. Just a beautiful half volley when he found himself in space into the far corner. Nothing the goalkeeper could have done about that. And yeah, they've finally broken the deadlock. So maybe we'll see a few more goals in here. It's 1-0.
Yep, another international goal for the former Watford winger. Let's head to Charlie Parker in Hungary. There's been a keeper error or a keeper mistake.
Tell you what, Bazuna needs to really take a chill pill. The ball's flying near the edge of his box. He's come out to get it. He's realised he's on the line of the box, and he's dropped the ball. He's already on a yellow card. He's nearly handballed at the edge of the box. He needs to be very careful. But other than that, no chances so far. 45 minutes gone, still 1-0 Ireland.
Ollie Johnson, I think the half-time whistle has just gone in Wales, hasn't it? How would you sum up the first half?
Yes, I think look at the first 10, 15 minutes, Czech Republic seemed to be causing a lot of problems. I mentioned Kufal seemed to be causing issues for Nico Williams, but since then he's really had him in his pocket. It's been an absolutely fantastic performance from the Liverpool wing-back. I must say as well, I've only just realised Dan James is playing after
Says a lot, doesn't it?
No, yeah, a bit of a soft penalty shout with about a minute to go. Dan James, Maisie ran into the box. Thomas Tuchel does make contact, but it's not enough to bring him down. I think it's a classic Dan James dive. Still 0-0 at half-time.
Matas Baranauskas, are we still playing in Slovakia or is it half-time yet?
We're still playing here. It's 4 minutes of added time, and Russia had a great chance to equalize with nice cross from the left-hand side. And Fernandes, out of all people, from the right-back position in the penalty box, great header, but it was straight to the keeper, and it was easy save for him. And it's still Slovakia 1, Russia 0.
Yes, half-time has just come across in Belgium. They lead 4-0 against Belarus. A couple for Batshuayi, and I always forget who scores them. I know Trossard got one and Doku got the other. That was the other one. Ryan Honey, you look quite happy there. Have Portugal got one back just before the half-time?
They have. On the stroke of half-time, it's that man again, Diogo Jota, with the goal. Substitute Pedro Neto heavily involved. It was a corner from the right-hand side, and the keeper Morris does very well to get two hands on it to punch it clear, but it does only fall as far as Pedro Neto on the left-hand side, and he cuts in and puts a delicious ball into the box, and Jota obliges and heads the ball into the top corner. Morris, absolutely no chance. Probably Portugal do deserve to go into the break level after Luxembourg started the game very well. So, yeah, the half-time whistle was just gone. Luxembourg 1, Portugal 1.
Half-time at the Atatürk Stadium in Istanbul. Jacob Tanzel, have you enjoyed that game as much as it looks as though you have?
So I've absolutely loved it. And what's an absolute surprise to me is there was no added time. for half time. As soon as the 45-minute hit, referee called it, and I'm surprised. There was 12 fouls altogether, end to end, really good. And it's been a tale, in all honesty, between the strikers. You saw Roberts Udrikas, who for Latvia is the reincarnation of Peter Crouch. He's elbowing Sionchu, he's bullying them, to be honest with you, and it's a refreshing throwback, to be honest, because you don't see that many number 9s anymore. Burak Yilmaz for Turkey's causing all sorts of problems. He's dropping in, allowing the likes of Karaman to stretch in behind. It's been a really, really good half, and it's hopefully more of the same second half. It's Turkey 2, Latvia 1.
One of only two goalless draws at the halftime stage. Jack Bishop, what was it like in Croatia? Did they show too much, or was it quite an even game?
No, you're right. It is goalless, but not a boring 0-0, certainly here. In the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, Malta really came out the gates well and looked to attack. Croatia weren't overawed at all. And I think Croatia might have just been a little bit surprised by that, a little bit complacent going in, because Malta really looked to cause some problems and had a great chance about 10 minutes in. But since then, Croatia really have started to show their power. Been playing very centrally. The wingers Orsic and Pasalic coming very narrow to create chances rather than getting wide and crossing. But the best chance did come from a cross. It was the fullback Juranovic getting forward, whipped it in for Budimir just inside the 6-yard box, and he did unfortunately hit the crossbar. So yeah, plenty of action here despite the scoreline, which is Croatia 0, Malta 0.
Let's head back to Podgorica. Norway 1-0 up against Montenegro at half-time as they finally look to get their qualification campaign underway. Harry Smith, how was the first half?
It's been a first half that's been completely dominated by Norway, to be honest. Montenegro have seldom left their own half. Haaland looks quite frustrated. He's made a lot of runs in behind and got the ball a couple of times, but his usual clinical finishing seems to have abandoned him this evening. The goal from Solent was from really good work from El Yunusi down the left-hand side. But the standout player of the half has been Norway's number 22, Morten Thorsby, who has been absolutely incredible. Every time Montenegro have got the ball and looked to create something, he's come out of nowhere and slide tackled or pushed the man off the ball. He has been incredible. But it is 1-0 here at halftime to Norway.
Yeah, good performance from the Sampdoria midfielder. Could he be on the move in the summer? Let's head to Matas Baranauskas. I think you were the last half-time score. Have we had the whistle yet?
Yeah, it's halftime here, and Russia just dominated the half apart for those few minutes when Slovakia scored. And Slovakia needed just few chances to get their goal, and now they're sitting back again and letting Russia try and equalize. But I think goals will come for Russia in the second half. They had their chance and they missed them, but they're looking pretty dangerous. It's halftime 1-0 Slovakia.
Hayden Baker, against Turkey, Netherlands struggled in front of goal. They had a lot of the ball, but they didn't create too many chances. Has it been a similar story against Gibraltar?
It's been a similar issue for them at Latvia last week as well. It has been similar tonight. Of course, they have got their goal. It has finished 1-0 at half time. Stephen Berghurst getting that goal, but it was a lot of work to get it. The amount of, although as well as Gibraltar defended, they never really gave Netherlands much of a clear sight of goal. The defensive work of Scott Wiseman, Roy Chipolola, excellent. But the amount of chances Netherlands were having to put in and squandering to get to that goal, I think it could be quite worrying for them. But yeah, more of the same for them tonight. They've got their goal. They'll have to look to build on it on the second half. And yeah, fingers crossed for them. It will start to improve as their qualifying campaign goes on.
The full-time whistle has gone in the game between Saudi Arabia and Palestine in the Asian bracket of World Cup qualifying. They won 5-0. And Italy are 3-0 up against Slovenia under-21s. 3 goals there, one of which for Patrick Cutrone, formerly of Wolves. Ryan Honey, probably the biggest shock that Portugal went 1-0 down to Luxembourg. What do they need to do in the second half if they're going to get a win here?
Well, I think reevaluate. I mean, going into halftime 1-0, it's harsh on them because they did play out of their skin in the first half. Obviously, the confidence that they've gone into this game after the weekend's win, and they started very well. The stats that I've just seen don't actually reflect the way in which the game's gone. 60% of possession Portugal have had and over 10 shots on goal, and then for Portugal. And I mean, they definitely went in towards half time on top, Portugal, and deservedly probably did level. So it'd be a case of reevaluating and planning where they go from here at half time for Luxembourg. And I wouldn't bet against them going on to win this game, because the first half didn't reflect their FIFA ranking of 98 whatsoever. They were excellent.
That's a lot higher than I thought they'd be, actually. Let's go through the classified results at half-time in the 8 games. Belgium are 4-0 at half-time against Belarus. Croatia 0, Malta 0, Gibraltar 0, Netherlands 1. A last gasp first half win goal from Steven Berghuis. Luxembourg 1, Portugal 1, like Ryan just said. Montenegro 0, Norway 1. Montenegro won their first 2 games, but look set to lose this one. Slovakia 1-0 up against Russia in a game where they haven't really dominated, but they've made a lot of fouls. Turkey 2, Latvia 1. Jacob's been loving that one. Turkey looked probably the group stages so far. And Ollie Johnson's a bit frustrated with Wales 0, Czech Republic 0. In that friendly between Republic of Ireland and Qatar, Charlie Parker, can you tell us a little bit about, what does Qatar look like?
I've been really impressed with Qatar. They've been dominating possession in the midfield. They've had some good shots, but unfortunately not a shot on target. They've had 53% possession, but that goal at the start of the game just has killed them. Unless they can get better chances. I mean, Pedro Miguel on the right-hand side has been causing the Irish defenders all kind of fits. I look to him in the second half to maybe getting across that someone can get ahead on. But I've been impressed with Qatar. I've not watched them before, and they've been very good.
In the African bracket of Africa Cup of Nations qualifying, Senegal struggled to a 1-1 draw with Eswatini. Cameroon 0, Rwanda 0 is a half-time scoreline, as is Morocco versus Burundi. Let's head to Ollie Johnson. What do you think? Any changes need to be made at half-time to help your boys in the second half?
Well, like I said, I didn't realise Dan James was playing, so either he needs to come off or he needs to pull his socks up a bit. For me, I think there was nothing wrong with the way the team played. I don't think anybody played particularly badly at all. I think Nico Williams, like I said, has probably been the best player on the pitch that first half. Likewise, James Lawrence has kept Wales in it when Joe Rode and Chris Meffman have made their fair share of mistakes in the first half. So all-round good performance by the Welsh. I think as well for the Czech Republic, I think if Yankto could keep it on target, then Czech Republic could easily be winning this game. So maybe I think it's changes need to be made potentially for both sides, but I think it's too early to call just yet.
What a surprise Dan James going missing, as if it hasn't happened before. Let's bring in Hayden Baker on this one. Hayden, are you there?
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
I just wanted to ask you to get your opinion on this one. So I've just heard that AD Buford has just ranted about the England under-21 job being utterly impossible. Too many players get called up to the senior squad, and it makes it hard to manage. What do you think about that one?
I mean, he's ranting about it halfway through a campaign in a major tournament. It's absolutely remarkable. And he can say what he wants about losing players to the senior setup, and granted, Southgate does take a lot of players from the under-21s setup, but with the amount of talent that's in that team, there's no excuses, surely. The biggest issue for AD Boothroyd, frankly, is the football that the youth team has been playing. You have an exciting team with dynamic players, likes of Eze, Callum Hudson-Odoi in that team, regardless of missing players like Jude Bellingham. You have a remarkable amount of talent in that team, and they're being wasted. They're playing physical, defensive football. They haven't even mustered a shot in open play this entire competition, a shot on target, I should say. Regardless of you being frustrated by having the chop and change of players, it's unacceptable, frankly. For him to come out and make those complaints, look at any other setup for the youth academies where players go even quicker. Did they fail? No, they won major tournaments. Did Stuart Pearce have this issue when he ran the under-21s? No, I think it's ridiculous, and I think it's pushing the blame on something other than himself.
No, I agree. I think, like Jacob said earlier, they've got the players. I don't think he's playing in the right position, but you can't look at the squad that played. The squad that he lined up against Portugal with the likes of Hudson-Odoi and Dwight McNeil and Ryan Sessegnon, not even in the team. it's a weird one. I mean, they've definitely got a good enough squad to go deep in that tournament. Would you agree, Jacob?
Oh, for sure. I think another point you've got to think of is if Adi Buford has said them comments, isn't it the same for the French under-21 manager? Isn't it the same for absolutely every single under-21 manager in that competition? So I think it's a little bit unfair, and especially this tournament as well. England, let's be honest, they've got an embarrassment of riches in that under-21 side. The likes of Callum Hudson-Odoi could well be with the first team. He's with the under-21s. So really, he should be quite lucky. I think it's kind of could be a sense of sour grapes. I think its time at England is probably coming to an end, especially if they exit the competition very early.
No, I agree totally. Like you said, the likes of Sessegnon and Eze, McNeil, and especially Godfrey and Hudson-Odoi are definitely probably two players good enough to play for the Indian senior team. Let's head over to Croatia. I've been told that there's some quite stellar players warming up. Do you reckon Malta could be run ragged in the second half, Jack Bishop?
Yeah, it looks like Croatia might be ready to bring in the big guns. Certainly wouldn't say that the players out there have been bad by any stretch, particularly the midfield, I think have been great, but I don't think it would be controversial to say that perhaps Croatia's two most talented players in the squad are Luka Modric and even Perisic. Modric rested for this one after becoming their most capped player at the weekend. But those two were both warming up together at halftime. So it looks like we might see those introduced soon into the second half. I think perhaps Kovacic has been really good in midfield for Croatia tonight, particularly. So perhaps Modric being prepared to come on for Milan Badeli, the midfield partner for Kovacic. As for Perisic, perhaps Vlasic might be the one to go off. He's the player in the front four who I think has really had the least impact, or perhaps Budimir, the striker, if Perisic were to come on up front, but most likely would be coming on behind him. So yeah, it looks like we're getting the second half underway here soon, and we might see some exciting names introduced to hopefully give Malta a bit more of a trouble than they had in the first half.
Yeah, it looks like the second half players look to be coming out, apart from in Slovakia, where they had about 5 minutes of added time after all those fouls. That'll probably kick off again at about 10-2. Ollie Johnson, any sign of Keeper Moore yet?
They just showed him warming up, so I'm not sure if he's going to come on as a half-time replacement, or he might be introduced in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. I think they need to give him a lot more than 5 minutes that he got against Belgium. You know, he started against Mexico the other night, scored a goal. And I think if we're going to play this way of the long throws and the good crosses by Nico Williams, then I think he needs to be introduced a lot early, because I think he can really score some goals against this Czech Republic team.
Yeah, I would definitely agree to you. So I think we are back underway, or about to be back underway in Wales and also in Belgium. Luke Wallace, do you think it's going to be more of the same in the second half?
We're not underway yet, no. There's just a couple of changes going on here. There's 2 for Belarus. Savitsky's on for Max Ebong and Sinjovic on for Podistrov. They're almost attacking changes. And for Belgium, Dedrick Boyata, of course, the former Celtic player, has just come on. We're a few moments from getting underway, but it's still 4-0 here.
Interesting to see the Belarusian manager going for more attacking players when they are 4-0 down at half time. But hey ho. Let's head to Ryan Honey. Any movement on the Portugal bench at all during the halftime?
It doesn't look like it from what I can see. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were to change things up in terms of what they've got on the pitch. Obviously, the likes of Sergio Oliveira, Rafa, obviously Pedro Neto has already come on, and even Cedric in the fullback position could offer an outlet down the right-hand side or the left, and João Cancelo can move to the left. So, I mean, they've got options, Portugal, should they want to use them. It's just a case of whether it be at half-time or midway through the second half.
On the subject of Cedric, Jacob, did you find it a bit weird when he left? And is it interesting to see him, play quite a lot for his country?
I'm absolutely shocked, to be honest with you, that he's in the international setup when Ryan said his name. You think of all the right backs Portugal are blessed with, the likes of Ricardo Pereira, João Cancelo, Nelson Semedo, And Cedric Suarez, bear in mind, Southampton fans were not only happy to let him go, but they were willing to drive him to Arsenal themselves. So I am surprised. I'm not sure what he's quite doing there, but listen, he must be a great guy to be around. You know, he might crack some jokes or something. He said, no, nice. He must be a nice man. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there. So let's just head back to Harry Smith. Are they underway yet in Montenegro or not?
Yep, we've just got underway. 46th minute here. Nothing much has happened, really. No changes from either side at halftime, although Josh King was warming up for Norway, so we might get to see him at some point in the second period. But no chances yet. It is still 1-0 to Norway.
Right, we are back underway in Hungary. Charlie Parker.
Yeah, we're back underway in Hungary, and Troy Parrott has instantly kicked it off for a throw-in. So great start for Ireland. 1-0 still here.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one, Troy Parrott. It's quite highly touted at Spurs, but I think did he spend the first half of the season at Millwall? And did he head to, I want to say Ipswich Town? I'm not too sure. It's a bit of an interesting one to see his career take a weird turn. Ryan Honey, have Portugal started the second half better than they started the first?
Well, in the first 30 seconds, James, I can honestly say it's going to be a similar pattern to this game. I feel as though Luxembourg will start the brighter and the quality of Portugal will eventually prevail. But as things stand, a minute in, not much can be said. Still 1-1 here.
There's been the first red card of the night. Ollie Johnson, who's it gone to?
It's the Czech Republic. It's a very stupid thing to do. Czech Republic had a great opportunity. Free kick, but halfway into the Welsh half. Decent delivery. Danny Ward collects the ball, fine. Something's gone on between Connor Roberts and Schick. I'm not quite sure what. Nobody saw on the original play. But they've just shown the replay and something's been said and Schick's basically just given Roberts one to the chin. More or less, it's a very stupid thing to do. There's now most of the second, it's only 49 minutes gone. Most of the second half to play, and Czech Republic are down to 10 men. Wales definitely need to capitalise on this.
Yeah, not the best start of the half for the Czech Republic. Harry Smith, it's just not Erling Haaland's evening, is it?
No, and he's already made a fool of himself a couple of times by miskicking the ball, and this one might be the worst one of the evening so far. He got slipped through and he bullied his centre-back, in all fairness to him, and then his snapshot that usually would nestle in the bottom corner ended up going out for a throw-in. So it is still 1-0 to Norway here, and Haaland is not his evening at all.
Jack Bishop, over in Croatia, have those early subs made any difference to the pattern of play?
Well, as I said, it was Modric and Perisic warming up, James, but they weren't actually introduced. The only sub at halftime was Satriano, the Malta striker, subbed off for Nwankwo. But Croatia might be made to wish that they had made that substitution already. It was the right back Juranovic again, who's having a really good game so far for Croatia. Did well to get some space down the right. Cut it back to the edge of the box where Vlasic was waiting, a player I said they might be interested in taking off for Perisic. And he is in acres of space and he's just scuffed his shot towards the goalkeeper. A really easy save for Bonello in the end, where Vlasic really should have done better. So Croatia perhaps made to rue not bringing in Perisic already, but as it is, it's still 0-0 here with 50 minutes played.
A quick start has been made in the second half as well as the first half over in Hungary. Charlie Parker.
It's a goal for Qatar, and they are absolutely ecstatic. Ali has picked the ball up in his own half, and he just runs down the pitch, past everyone, finds Montari on the right, and places it past the goalkeeper. 1-1.
Yep, it was always all too good to be true, wasn't it? Leading 1-0. They've been warned with that free kick and the chances that Qatar have created on the counter-attack. I did see his face pop up, but there's been another goal in Belgium. Is there any surprise in who it's gone to? Luke Wallace.
No, absolutely not. We hadn't even played 5 minutes of the second half here, and it's Belgium 5, Belarus 0. A quickly worked throw-in came to Michy Batshuayi, who picked out Dennis Pratt, who had all the space in the world on the edge of the area, and he drived it low into the bottom left corner for his first Belgium goal. And just before you came to me, it could have been 6 and even 7, because Belarus keep giving the ball away and Belgium keep breaking through the speed at which they're playing is absolutely unreal, and Belarus just can't live with them. It's Belgium 5, Belarus 0.
Over in Slovakia, Matas Baranauskas, has there been as many fouls in the start of the second as there were in the first?
Not yet, but Russia made a substitution. Yuri Shevkov came off for Mostov, and I think Russia moving to 4-4-2 formation and to put Turban Shamal up front. But right now it's only Russia, again, with high balls, and we'll see what's going to happen. Slovakia 1, Russia 0.
There's been a penalty awarded in Turkey. Jacob Tanswell, who's it gone to?
Yes, it's gone to Turkey, and Burak Yilmaz has just converted the penalty to make it 3-1 Turkey. It was Mert Mulder driving into the box, and it was a clumsy challenge from Christos Tonus, and the referee had no option but to point to the spot. Yilmaz, brilliant performance. He tucks it to the keeper's right. The keeper dives the right way, but can't get hands on it. Turkey extending their lead to 2.
Just as I was about to say, he's been very quiet tonight. Has CR7 managed to bag a goal in Luxembourg? Ryan Honey.
And the answer to that question, James, is yes. Portugal now lead 2-1 against Luxembourg, and it is quality emphasised. It's a brilliant ball into the box from João Cancelo from the right-hand side. It's just a little dink into the path of the on-running Cristiano Ronaldo, who, as you say, has been quiet for the majority of this game. And it's just a delightful finish. It's coming over his shoulder, and he just manages to volley it with the side of his foot back across goal and into the corner. It's a delightful finish, and Portugal have started the half much better than they did the first, and lead 2-1 after 51 minutes.
Yeah, he probably does deserve one after that disallowed goal against Serbia at the weekend. Let's head to Montenegro. Harry Smith. Is Haaland getting any closer to the goal?
He isn't at the moment, but the second half has started very much how the first half went, with Norway having 68% possession. Montenegro have offered very little in terms of attacking intent. The only half chance they've had really has been through Jovetic. The ball was crossed in. I think it was Djurdjevic with the cross in, and Jovetic met it with a really good header actually, but met a smart save from the Norway goalkeeper. But it is 1-0 to Norway here.
Morocco have taken the lead against Burundi in their Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. Let's head to Luke Wallace in Belgium. Belarus showing any signs of getting anything from the game?
Yes, they are, and they should have a goal. There was only one change for Belgium at half-time. Jason Denayer, the former Sunderland and Man City player, was taken off for Dedrick Boyata, and it's a ball over the top towards Boyata. He doesn't deal with it, and the Belarus players are all over him. He takes it back towards his own penalty area before he then loses it. It falls to Sinjovic, who came on at half-time, and he almost had an open goal. Mignolet was in no man's land, but it rolled just wide of the post, so it's still 5-0 here.
The big guns are on in Croatia. Jack Bishop.
They certainly are. It's actually been a triple sub made by Croatia. Clearly losing patience a bit, perhaps came into this one a little bit complacent. As I speculated, it's Badeli coming off for Luka Modric. Ivan Perisic on for Pasalic on the right wing, which is surprising because he's been one of Croatia's most dangerous players, linking up with Juranovic really well down the right. But it is Pasalic off for Perisic. And then up front, Budimir, who has not really been at the races today. He's been caught offside a couple of times. He's missed a couple of big chances. He goes off for Brekalo, the Wolfsburg striker. Only 22 years old, Brekalo. Interested to see what he can provide for Croatia. But it's starting to look like more a matter of when than if for Croatia. Since the sort of half an hour mark, I don't think Malta have even been into their half. It's been complete domination from Croatia. And we will hopefully soon see our first goal here. But as it is, 55 minutes played, Croatia 0, Malta 0.
Yes, he is hotly tipped, Josip Brekalo of Wolfsburg. Ryan Honey, do Portugal look like they want to go and take the game and finish it off?
Well, James, as you came to me there, I genuinely thought Luxembourg were going to just pull themselves back into this game through Rodriguez. It's actually unbelievable. Portugal almost doubled their advantage and went 3-1 to the good through the left back Nuno Mendes, who was brought into the side for today's game. He managed to turn about 3 or 4 Luxembourg defenders down the left-hand side before cutting in and sending his shot across goal, which was well saved by Anthony Morris. But then moments later, Luxembourg almost, as I say, got themselves back into the game through Rodriguez. He managed to get away down the left, and thunderous effort on the near post. And Diego Lopez, nowhere near it, skims the side netting and goes narrowly wide. Luxembourg look a threat on the counter attack, as did Portugal did in the first half. Still 2-1 Portugal here after 55 minutes.
Hayden Baker, there's been a goal, but also nearly a penalty. What's going on in Gibraltar?
Yeah, it's all been going on here on the Rock. Gibraltar, probably the best chance they've had all game, if you could really call it a chance. A long ball over the top that TJ DeBar sort of ran onto. Bit of a tussle of legs that came in the box. I felt the Lit gave him a shove, and Daley Blind also kind of came into him. Unfortunately, from it, Daley Blind, he landed really badly on his shin. He's had to be stretchered off. But pretty much immediately after he's come off, Netherlands have gone up the other end and scored. It's Luc de Jong who's got it. A quick ball driven across the face of goal that de Jong got to at the front post. Clinical goal from a clinical striker who's got his third in 3 qualifying games so far. It is 55 minutes gone. Netherlands 2, Gibraltar 0.
Yeah, he is a real menace in the box, Luc de Jong. We saw that last year in the Europa League semi-finals against United, where he sent them crashing out. Let's head to Ollie Johnson. How's it going in Cardiff?
Well, Kiefer Moore's just been introduced to the game. Wales have gone to a back 4, brought off a defender, and going to try and take advantage of the action man. Having been under the cost for the past 10 minutes, Czech Republic should have scored a goal. Danny Ward came rushing out. I'm not really sure what happened defensively, but I think it was Provod was one-on-one with Danny Ward, came rushing out. Provod went round him, and it was just brilliant defending by James Lawrence to beat him to the ball. Could have very easily been 1-0. Now Wales are on the attack, and Kiefer Moore's on the pitch, so you never know what's going to happen. Harry Wilson plays in, brilliant ball. Go on then, Roberts. With Kiefer Moore, get his head just over the top of him. Because that's the first time we're going to see Kiefer Moore. But yeah, still 0-0.
I'm sure he'll get some chances. Jacob Tanswell, has there been another goal? How's the second half shaping up?
Has been another goal, and it's for Latvia this time. And I tell you what, it's only what they deserve. The last 5 minutes, they've responded really well to going behind. They've had a couple of free kicks, and I tell you what, Kabak and Soyuncu have been all over the place. Kabak has conceded 5 fouls so far in this game, and Soyuncu just been booked for overrunning the ball. The goal comes from a deep free kick. Soyuncu loses the header, and it is that man Oldrakis who picks up the second ball for a tap into the empty net. It is Turkey 3, Latvia 2, with 30 minutes left.
Do you know if Demiral is on the bench or not? Are you surprised we haven't seen him yet?
Demiral, he is on the bench, and I am quite surprised we haven't seen him. We haven't seen him yet, but I think he could be what this game needs, because I tell you what, there's goals galore, and if this match was a heavyweight fight, both boxers would be on the deck, because both of these defences' chins are very, very weak.
Let's head over to Hungary in the international friendly between the Republic of Ireland and Qatar. How have Republic of Ireland responded to going to Qatar pulling one back, Charlie Parker?
Well, they responded by a double change. Shane Long, who missed a sit earlier, has been taken off for Callum Robinson, and Horgan has been pulled off for Jason Knight. It is still 1-1 here, 58 minutes played.
Yes, another fruitless night for Shane Long. Jacob looks quite happy about that one. Let's head to Harry Smith in Montenegro.
Well, surprisingly enough, Montenegro have just had a chance. It was Haksabanovic who ran down the left-hand side, really determined run from him. He cut inside onto his right foot, but dragged his shot just wide of the left-hand post. A stat that I saw that's kind of summed up the whole game, really, is there's been 19 fouls, which shows just how stop-start this game has been. Neither side has really been able to get into the flow of things, but it's still 1-0 to Norway here.
Yeah, just over an hour gone in all the games. The biggest shock is probably that Croatia, World Cup finalists in 2018, of course, are drawing 0-0 with Malta, who drew 2-2 with Slovenia last time out. Let's head to Cardiff. Ollie Johnson, you look quite upset. What's going on?
Another one, I don't know how Wales haven't scored that one either. It was brilliant play by Kiefer Moore. Held it up, played it to Dan James. Oh no, Czech Republic going to score it. Oh, that's got to be a red card, ref. Come on. No red card. All right. So I'll go back to my first point. But yeah, so hang on, is it? No. What's yellow card for diving? Right. It's all going on here. So about 2 minutes ago, brilliant chant for Wales. Kiefer Moore held it up, played it to Dan James. Brilliant ball across. I think Harry Wilson was meeting in the middle. Couldn't quite find him. It was an absolutely brilliant ball. Then Gareth Bale did the same thing again, just volleyed the ball at the floor. Absolutely ridiculous. Like how we aren't 1-0 up there, I don't know. Now at the other end, I think it's Provod's going up the other end of the pitch and just been absolutely sandwiched by Lawrence and Rodon. No, and he's been booked for diving. I've no idea how. I know he's literally been clattered by 2 players and been booked for diving. No idea. That's not a red card, but yeah, still 0-0 somehow.
Ryan Honey, you said that Diego Jota was by far the best player in the first half. Is he running right in the second?
Well, he should have had his second, James, and it was a brilliant header. Again, pretty similar to the first one, really. I mean, a corner was whipped in, and he got above his man and directed the ball, which looked destined for the top corner, but it came bouncing back off the crossbar. I mean, as far as chances go, it's a very good one, and Portugal will be livid that it's not 3-1. Still 2-1 here, hour played.
Harry Smith said that Josh King was warming up. Surely he has to come on for Erling Haaland now. How many misses is that, Harry Smith?
Well, each miss seems to be getting worse and worse. Montenegro committed too many players forward, simple as that. The ball got played over to Solent, who played a really nice ball into Haaland, and you thought, surely he's going to finish this one. And he just seemed to lose all composure, completely smashing the ball miles over the bar. And he seems to be reading all the tweets saying that he's not good for his international side, and it may be getting to his head. But it is 1-0 to Norway here still.
Doesn't look too good for Erling Haaland. Hopefully that won't affect his form in the Bundesliga, because Dortmund do need to get into the Champions League if they are to keep him in the summer. Let's head to Belgium now. Luke Wallace, are Belarus going to get a goal, or is it just one-sided?
Yes, they're very close. The game has evened out a lot since the last Belgian goal. If anything, Belarus have had slightly more possession. Belgium are just making a few changes now. Michi Batshuayi and Jan Vertonghen are coming off for Christian Benteke and Leander Den Donker. So Roberto Martinez also wants a bit more control in midfield. But there was Belarus won a corner. It was cleared by the first man, but it came back out to Stashevic, who fired in towards Mignolet's near post. He was there, and then a weird offside flag went up. It was a very tight call, but I think he was onside. But Belarus still without a goal, but they are starting to push Belgium now. Still 5-0 here.
The saying goals come like buses is definitely true in Gibraltar. Hayden Baker.
Yes, it is 4-0 to the Netherlands. Yes, a bit of a jump from when you last saw me. It's been 2 goals in quick succession for the Netherlands. The first one coming from a free kick from Memphis Depay. Quite a wide angle, not in an area you'd expect a free kick to go in, but some clumsy defending, a bit of miscommunication, and it was bundled into the far corner. And then the fourth with Gigi Wijnaldum pinging it up in the 6-yard box and just belting it in from point blank range. It came from a parry from the goalkeeper. Be a little bit disappointed not to have caught that, but Wijnaldum was taking absolutely no risks with that. You could say these 2 goals, this 2-minute spell was probably rock bottom for Gibraltar. It's 4-0 here.
Love that. Hayden Baker, the king of the puns. That's another 2 goals on the night for Memphis Depay. He's been in a really good form for Lyon at the top of Ligue 1 and also for the national team since he came back from injury. There's finally been a goal in Croatia. One of the upsets was on the cards. Who's it gone to, Jack Bishop?
Well, you were holding out hope for an upset, James, but I'm afraid it has gone to Croatia, the goal. Malta, who I mentioned, started off the game with so much attacking intent. In the second half, they've just looked to sit back and what could be called a 3-back very much became a 5-back. They were happy to just sit back and try and take the 0-0. But it was that man, the substitute, Ivan Perisic, who has broken the deadlock there. It was Dario Melnjak, the left back this time for Croatia. The fullback's really involved out there. Dario Melnjak got himself forward on the left, whipped a mid-height ball in towards the back post, and Perisic was fastest to react, found himself unmarked, and just volleyed it home. Nice, comfortable goal for Perisic. And finally, we do have a goal for all of Croatia's attacking intent today. So Croatia 1, Malta 0 with 63 minutes played.
Yes, finally for Croatia, desperately in need of a win to kind of cement their place at the top of their group. There's been another chance in Cardiff, Ollie Johnson.
Absolutely furious again. What is it with Dan James and not being able to hold runs? And to top it all off, he can't even tip it over to keep the one-on-one. It's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know. He's not even Welsh for a start. Like, why is he there? He's been rubbish. Next person, 0-0.
We have a bit of a frustrated Ollie Johnson over in the corner. Meanwhile, Italy's under-21 team, Patrick Cutrone's bagged another for the Italians. The former Wolves man is bagged 2 there. They lead Slovenia under-21s 4-0. Hayden Baker, there seems to be a goal every couple of minutes in your game. Let me guess, has it gone to the Netherlands?
Yeah, it has come to the Netherlands. If I said the last one was rock bottom, I'd say this one's the people's elbow. It's a 5th goal. It was about as straightforward as it gets, really. A nice drilled ball from Davy Klaassen across the box, fell to the substitute Doniel Marlin, who came on at half time, and he just buried that emphatically. One of the angriest goals you'll see from point blank range this side of Vinicius against Marine. It is 5-0 with 65 minutes gone.
Similar team versus similar standard, in my opinion. And there we go again, Hayden Baker with all the cracking jokes. Let's head back to Belgium. Luke Wallace, has there been another chance for Belarus?
Oh, James, how Belarus haven't scored in this game, I don't know. It's another ball over the top, which Belgium are really struggling with. As I say that, Belgium make their way into the Belarus area, but it's cleared. But no, it's another ball over the top that Belgium just can't deal with at all. I think it's Boyata who came on at half time. He's looked completely out of his depth. It's a ball over the top. It pings back to the Belarus player, and he hits it on the heart volley. And it should be going top bins, and it goes out for a throw. It's one of the worst attempts at a volley I've ever seen. Really embarrassing from them. They should have a goal in this game, but they don't. It's still Belgium 5, Belarus 0.
Full time in the League 2 game between Carlisle and Crawley. The 2-0 win for Carlisle. That came through about 10 minutes ago. Luke, would you say that Belgium are stepping off the gas, or just Belarus playing quite well?
I would say Belarus have grown into this game. When I saw them make a couple of attacking changes at half time, I thought it was going to be a bit of a tactical error, but it's really taken the game to Belgium. They're sitting back, then they're grabbing possession comfortably. They're not giving it away like they were in the first half. A lot of balls over the top for their tall strikers to run onto, and it's really exposing Belgium's weaknesses. I said Martinez has brought on Dendoncker on in midfield to try and shore things up, and he's not touched the ball yet. Belarus doing really well. Here's Benteke now on the edge of the area. Belgium coming forward for the first time really since they've scored. Vanaken on the edge of the area beats a couple of players. Looks like that one's just been stifled out by Belarus. But yeah, Belgium's just not able to live with them at the minute, which is a real surprise.
Hopefully we can see Belarus, grab a goal in that one. A bit of a consolation for their fans. Ryan Honey, Portugal took the lead about 10-15 minutes ago. Have they looked like adding to that at all?
No, not really. I mean, Luxembourg have actually grown into this half, much like they did in the first half, and they haven't really created a clear-cut opportunity, but they're doing their best to do so. I mean, they're throwing everything they can at it. I mean, Portugal are just down the other end now, and they just won a corner, but it's been pretty much all Luxembourg in the last 10 minutes or so, and I mean, fair play to them. They're getting on the ball, and they're playing it around with real confidence and really going for this. No chances created from them as of yet in the last 10 minutes, but they're making a good go of it. Still 2-1.
Matas Barauskas, in the game between Slovakia and Russia, is there anything or is it same old, same old?
Well, it's still 1-0 to Slovakia, and actually Slovakia pushing for the second this half. And very strange substitution from Russia, because Mostovoy just came on at halftime, but he was brought out like 20 minutes after by Sobolev, and they're trying to go for their equalizer, because right now it's Slovakia looking for a second, and it might happen. So it's still Slovakia 1, Russia 0.
it looks like Roberto Martinez does not like the way Luke Wallace was talking about his Belgium side, and they've gone and reacted.
Everything I've said tonight has been pretty much wrong, James. It's so cruel on Belarus. They don't quite clear a ball in from Belgium properly. It falls back to Toby Alderweireld, who puts the crispest ball into the penalty area, and Christian Benteke, a first-time volley into the bottom right corner to give Belgium their 6th goal, which means tonight is now a record defeat for Belarus. Their previous heaviest defeat was 5-0 against Austria. It's now 6th and counting against Belgium.
Yep, 6-0 up, and some rather unknown scorers. Batshuayi, Trossard, Doku and Benteke bagging the goals, which is different to the normal De Bruyne, Mertens, etc. But good for Belgium to give their players a run out. Jacob Tanswell, anything going on in the Turkey game? Do they look like they're going to go ahead again?
The straight, honest answer is a no. I likened this to a heavyweight contest last time, didn't I? And it is like a heavyweight contest in the last 10, 11, 12th round. Both teams are absolutely dead on their feet, fouls everywhere, and the ball seems to be up in the air longer than it is on the floor. And I said this was a good game. The last 10 minutes have been pretty dire, to be honest with you. I'm hoping for a grandstand finish. Looking at them, they're breathing quite heavily. It looks unlikely. It's still Turkey 3, Latvia 2.
Harry Smith, has Erling Haaland's miserable night been brought to a premature end yet?
Nope, he's still on the pitch, but he hasn't had much effect on the game, to be honest. In the last 5-10 minutes, it's been all Montenegro. Jovetic had the biggest chance. Well, I say a chance, it wasn't really. He cut onto his right foot, and then his shot was straight down the throat of Rune Jarstein in the Norway goal. But no real massive chances, and it is still 1-0 to Norway here.
The goal in Croatia, Jack Bishop, has that has it settled the nerves of the Croats at all, or is the game pretty dull?
I think both are true, to be honest, James. It has certainly settled their nerves, but has led to a slightly dull affair in the 10 minutes since. Croatia just holding on to possession now. They know that they can outwork and outpass the Maltese out here, and Malta not really showing too much resistance to it at the moment. They're looking quite frustrated out there. I must say, when the goal went in, Malta, having defended so well for most of the game, their players looked absolutely devastated. Some of them dropped to their knees and, just really disappointed to have conceded that one, and their heads might have dropped a little bit. Croatia not looking too desperate to get that 2-goal cushion at the moment. They're just knocking it about nicely. We've got Vida on the ball at the moment, feeding it into Kovacic, who's going to try for a run, but in the end just passes it back to Juranovic on the right. So, Croatia just holding on to possession at the moment. I think we might see a second goal from them, but they're certainly not forcing it. Still, Croatia 1, Malta 0, 74 minutes played.
Let's head back to Hayden Baker's stand-up gig at the Victoria Stadium.
Yeah, a little bit more of a serious one on this update, to be honest with you, James. The hero for Gibraltar so far today, Dale Colin, he's had to go off injured. It's another awkward landing, really. Well, I guess you could say it's like that anyway, in this game. He's gone to take a goal kick, and he's just kind of caught his ankle as he's gone to kick the ball, landed really awkwardly on it, so he's had to be brought off. For locals, your ears probably would have pricked up at that thought, as a Solent University alumni in Bradley Banda is actually on the bench for Gibraltar for this game. Unfortunately, though, he is not the one who's been subbed on. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a busy afternoon for this keeper as well. It's Netherlands 5, Gibraltar 0 with a quarter of an hour left.
Let's head to Slovakia. Matas Baranauskas, have Russia managed to get back into it?
Yes, Russia equalized with Mario Fernandez. One of the Russian players tried a shot from the outside of the box, but it was deflection. Keeper saved it, and deflection just came off Mario Fernandez, and he lobbed the keeper. 1-0. I mean, it's 1-1 Slovakia Russia, and Russia deserved it. They were pushing last 5 minutes, and they're on attack right now. In the box, cross and save. Good save by Slovakian goalkeeper. 1-1. 70 minutes played.
Let's head back to Luxembourg. Ryan Honey, have Luxembourg shown any signs of trying to rescue a point in that game?
They are, James. They're showing real promise. I mean, they went really close a couple of minutes ago, a free kick, which was won on the right-hand side by right-back Laurent Jans. I mean, it's so uncharacteristic from Ruben Diaz. He came storming out and just took the fullback out, which you wouldn't really see him do in a Manchester City team. And he took him down, and the free kick was given, yellow card awarded. And when Phil, the substitute, said Phil stepped up, it looked as though he was going to try and dink it to the far post, and it ended up going over everyone and almost finding that far corner. If it wasn't for Diego Lopez reaching high towards the top corner to turn it around to the post, it would be 2-2. But it's not. Luxembourg still with every chance to get back in this game, but it's still 2-1 Portugal, 75 minutes played.
It's goals galore in Belgium. Who has it gone to? Luke Wallace.
James, it's 7, and they had 3 attempts at having 7. There was a goal line scramble that it was Van Aken at the back post who had a header. It was just a fraction not over the goal line. A few moments later, there was then a cross into Christian Benteke that was hacked away at the last minute, as all 3 players that tried to go for the ball fell to the floor. No penalty, though. And then finally, it was a brilliant ball through from Jeremy Doku, the 18-year-old that's absolutely run this game. Ball through to Leandro Trossard, a heavy touch that I almost thought was going to cost him the ball. It didn't. I do that just as Belgium come forward again, looking for an 8th. It was a brilliant touch, took it all the way across the box, away from the defenders, and he blasted past the keeper. His second this evening. This is second for Belgium, and it's Belgium 7, Belarus 0.
There's been a penalty in Croatia. Who's it gone to, and has it been dispatched, Jack Bishop?
It went the way of Croatia, James. Quite a harsh one, I would say. It was a Croatia corner, pretty standard, hustling and bustling in the box, or so I thought. But the referee actually gave a penalty against Enrico Pepe, who was at the near post dealing with Nikola Vlasic. He did have his arms on him, to be fair, but Vlasic, the ball was still way over him. He had no hope of jumping unless he's got some incredible leap on him. So really didn't make much of a difference to proceedings, but the penalty was given. The Malta players were, of course, absolutely furious with the referee, but no VAR in these qualifiers, so the penalty went ahead, and Luka Modric, who else? The man who has just become Croatia's most capped player of all time, on his 136th appearance, steps up from the spot and calmly dispatches it to the goalkeeper's right. Laid it into the corner. No real chance for Bonello, although he did dive the wrong way anyhow. So with about 12 minutes to go here, it is now Croatia 2, Malta 0. Should be a done deal for Croatia.
Let's head over to Ollie Johnson. He doesn't look too happy, and I hear he has a reason not to be.
Do you believe me if I said it was Dan James again? Probably would, actually, wouldn't you? I don't understand what it is with this player. I mean, I sang his praises before the game about how well he's played under Rob Page. Tonight, he's either been non-existent or terrible. And no, that's right. But so basically, he's gone one-on-one with the keeper, rounded the keeper, and just completely mishit the ball out for a goal kick. And no idea what he was doing. All he had to do was tap it in. It's the best chance we've had all game. Unbelievable. And I don't know if you saw, but about 2 minutes before, Wales had a red card, double yellow. This time for Connor Roberts, they say what goes around comes around. Went for an aerial challenge with Thomas Soucek and found himself elbowing him in the face, so he was sent off as well. 10 minutes to go, still 0-0.
Let's head back to Matas Baranauskas in Slovakia. No sooner had Russia equalised, have Slovakia taken the lead again?
Yes, Slovakia scored second goal. Robert Mack with a nice run inside the box, got away from 3 defenders and slotted the ball in the bottom left corner. And Slovakia to Russian run. Russia still trying to get another equalizer, but nothing is going to their favour. 2-1.
Let's head back to the Ataturk Olympic Stadium in Istanbul. We haven't spoken to Jacob Tanswell for a while. How's the game progressing?
Well, to be honest, James, nothing really happened until Ikunik has popped up with the equaliser. It's now 3-3. To be honest with you, it's what Latvia deserve. Because Turkey, to be honest with you, they've been going through the motions. And to sum it all up, Yusuf Yasiki, 3 minutes before the goal, was coming off as a substitute and he started clapping the stadium like there was fans there. Not for me, I'll tell you that now. And it was a free kick, deep free kick came in. Once again, Turkey failed to clear their lines. The second phase was kept alive. And Iku Nix beautifully brought the ball down, touched at his feet and slotted it in at the front post. It's now Turkey 3, Latvia 3 with 10 minutes to go.
Let's head back to Cardiff. They've just gone 10 down to 10, but it makes no difference, Ollie Johnson.
I take everything back that I said about Dan James. Unbelievable. That's right. I didn't mean it, I promise. Brilliant ball by Gareth Bale. It's probably, he's needed to show his worth again. He hasn't had the best couple of games. But Dan James, I didn't see who he jumped over, but completely out-jumped his defender. Headed the ball into the bottom corner. Brilliant finish. 1-0, 8 minutes to go.
Erling Haaland's night has finally been cut short. Harry Smith, just how bad has he been?
Well, the one good thing I can say about Haaland's performance tonight is that it's over. He's been taken off for Josh King, and really he's just looked really frustrated. He seemed to be trying to prove himself every time he's got the ball, trying to do things that just he doesn't need to do, taking shots that simply weren't on. But him and Odegaard have now both been taken off, and it is still 1-0 to Norway here.
Let's head to Ryan Honey in Luxembourg. You said that this game could go either way, but there has been a goal. Which way has it gone?
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable, James. I mean, Ronaldo had every right to be angry that he thought that they should have won against Serbia at the weekend. The goal wasn't allowed. But he should have wrapped things up before they have just wrapped things up through Palhinha. He's just scored for Portugal from a corner. It's a brilliant header downwards across the goalkeeper, and it is 3-1 Portugal. But Ronaldo, it's unbelievable. The midfielder for Luxembourg, he passes the ball back to his goalkeeper without realising Ronaldo is in his own area, and Ronaldo's got all the time in the world to pick his spot, and he misses. It is unbelievable. I'm actually speechless, but not that it matters now because Luxembourg looks like they've lost the game 3-1, but madness. 3-1 Portugal, 9 minutes to go.
Yes, a goal for the Braga striker Palhinha in that one. Let's head to the only unofficial game of the evening. Charlie Parker's in Hungary. How the score's still 1-1. Anything changed?
It is still 1-1. Nothing much has happened for the last 10 minutes. But this second half has been abysmal from Ireland. Qatar had been dominating everything. I saw the danger man I pointed out at the start of the game, Al Hadeidos, has had all the space in the world to do what he wants. He's had about 4 shots on target. That's all, unfortunately for him, been saved. But this is a terrible performance from Ireland. Qatar, who really should be ahead. 82 minutes gone, still 1-1.
Let's head to Hayden Baker. Have you got any more jokes for us?
I think the Rock pun book is pretty much maxed out. I'm not sure we've got much more in the tank with that, to be honest with you, James, which is a good thing that there's only 10 minutes left in this one. Netherlands just looking quite comfortable now. They're happy with their 5-goal lead. They're still pushing for a few chances, but nothing really to note so far. Just playing some nice football around the edge of the box, around the edge of Gibraltar's box now. Looking for a chance. Are they going to get one? It's come wide. It's a poor ball on the inside. But yeah, it's looking comfortable for Netherlands now. They're just going to see this game out with just 10 minutes or so to go. It's Netherlands 5, Gibraltar 0.
There's been another chance in Cardiff. Has Dan James nearly bagged another Ollie Johnson, or have Czech Republic just gone wide?
No, this was Kiefer Moore this time. It's probably the first time we've seen him in this second half. Brilliant play. He turned his man, created himself a little bit of space on the edge of the box. Made the shot, took the shot away, and it just went over the right-hand side of the crossbar. Could have easily been 2-0 then, but no, 5 minutes to go, still 1-0. Yes,
not long left in most of the games. We've got Belgium 7-0 up against Belarus, 4 minutes left in that one. Croatia 2-0 up against Malta, both goals in the second half, 86 minutes played in that one. Netherlands have turned on the charm in the second half, and they now lead 5-0 against Gibraltar, 5 minutes left in that one. Portugal have come from behind, goals from Ronaldo, Jota and Palhinha. They lead Luxembourg 3-1, 5 minutes left in that one. Erling Haaland hasn't managed to score a goal for Norway. They still lead 1-0 against Montenegro with 5 minutes left. Alexander Solent with that one. Turkey have had a 3-1 lead cut down to a 3-3 draw against Latvia. 5 minutes left in that one. Slovakia went 1-0 up against Russia. Russia equalised. Slovakia got another one. And Wales and Czech Republic, both with a man sent off. Wales have just taken the lead and only 5 minutes left in that one. Let's go to Charlie Parker in Hungary. Has there been a chance for Qatar?
Yeah, Ali down the right-hand side is passed into Matari on the edge of the box. Well, unfortunately, his effort is powerful, but it's gone just over the bar. Ireland have made a triple sub. McLean has come off for Manning, Hendrick has come off for Brown, and Malumbi has come off for Cullen. With 5 minutes left in this game, it's still 1-1.
Matas Baranowskis, there's been a chance in Slovakia. Who's it gone to?
Yeah, there was a nice chance for Russia. Mario Fernandez with a beautiful cross from the right-hand side towards Artem Zuba. And Zuba with a nice header, but it went just outside the post. And it's still 2-1 to Slovakia, 7 minutes to go.
Harry Smith, does Josh King look closer to hitting the back of the net than Erling Haaland did?
He actually has, to be honest with you. He one of his first involvements, he got the ball and spread the ball out wide, and then they pushed into the box. It was cut back to him, and I thought he was going to pull the trigger, but he tried to draw a foul and get a penalty, and no luck with that. And just before that, Savic was seeming to try and get Sorloth sent off as he was trying to hold off the ball and hold off his man, and then Savic threw himself to the ground as if he'd just been punched in the face. Quite embarrassing, in my opinion. But it is still 1-0 here with 3 minutes left.
Brilliant stuff. Let's head to Jack Bishop. Is the game kind of petering out? Are both teams waiting for the full-time whistle?
Yeah, I think so a bit, James. Although Domagoj Vida, the Croatian defender, one of the stalwarts of that back line, has just committed a really silly foul on the halfway line. There was, no real threat for Malta. They weren't really going anywhere. No need to commit the foul. And he picks up a yellow card, which isn't his first of this campaign, and means that he will miss their next game against Armenia. So although that is one that you expect them to win, really, Croatia, Armenia are higher ranked than Malta in the world rankings. And, if considering that Malta have given them a bit of a game tonight until they brought on the big guns, it could be an issue that Vida will be out of that one. So really silly from him. But yeah, with just 2 minutes of regular time still to play, Croatia just knocking the ball about at the back now. Malta not putting them under too much pressure. I think they've sort of accepted their defeat, and both teams are certainly just waiting for this one to be over. I think, yeah, Croatia 2, Malta 0 with 2 minutes to go.
There's 2 very high-scoring games tonight. One of them is in Gibraltar. There's been another goal, Hayden Baker.
Yes, there has been another one. It is 6-0 to the Netherlands, as you probably would have already guessed. Donny van der Beek with this one, as I'm sure you'll be happy to hear, James. It comes in through the middle, great finish, slotted in at the near post. To be honest, a goal that came so inconspicuous with Netherlands' dominance, I've almost missed it. Just right in my match notes, look up, there's another goal. Donny van der Beek with this one, just to really top off a good evening for Netherlands. Incredibly as well, the first time the Dutch have scored more than 5 goals outside of Holland or for an away international game, which is quite a surprising stat in more than 10 years since Klaas-Jan Huntelaar scored a hat-trick for him against San Marino. So there's a fun fact instead of a fun joke for this one. It is Netherlands 6, Gibraltar 0. Oh, sorry, it's 7. It says, as I send off, it's 7-0 now. Memphis Depay. Memphis Depay has popped up with another one. 4 goals for him tonight. 4 goals for him tonight? Might be making that up. It's been a good evening for him regardless, though. Easily the man of the match in this one. Lovely little flick. Brought back out of the edge of the box. Just having to work that opening again, Netherlands. No matter how long this game's gone on, Gibraltar have always been trying to defend tight, keep the man marked. But they just get that little opening. Depay getting it at the near post. Great tapping through the legs of the goalkeeper. And it is 7-0 to Holland now.
Yeah, good to see Donny van der Beek get a goal and some game time in that one, because he isn't getting any at Man United. Ryan Honey, I hear there's been a red card in the game in Luxembourg.
No, that has, and it looks like that's game over for Luxembourg. They put on a terrific performance, but it's the centre half, Maxime Chanot, two 2 yellow cards. The first one was soft, but this one's even softer. Renato Sanchez picks it up on the left-hand side and just glides past him. But he's never getting on. He's never getting onto the ball, and Chanot just forces him out wide. And Renato stops, holds his hands up. Referee, what are you going to do? He's going to show him a yellow card. And for me, it's very soft. But Chanot has been shown a second yellow card, and he'll go for an early bar. 3-1 Portugal, about to go into added time.
Charlie Parker over in Hungary. Has there been any sign of a winning goal?
Completely against a run of play. Ireland's had a great chance. Christie comes down the right, crosses it in. The keeper, Al-Sheeb, misses it completely. It falls straight to Callum Robinson, who slices the ball and misses. Still 1-1, 89 minutes gone.
The first full-time whistle has blown in Belgium, but before that, there was another goal. Luke Wallace.
Oh, well, the fact that there was no extra time was merciful for Belarus, really. Hayden's had 7 goals. I can go one better. It's Belgium 8, Belarus 0. And it's the guy who got the second goal, Hans van Aken, who scored against a brilliant ball over the top. And then Adnan Januzaj, with a bit of magic, touches the ball inside as he touches it down, drills it in towards van Aken, who makes no mistake to make it 8. And then a couple of moments later, the full-time whistle went. Full-time here, Belgium 8, Belarus 0.
Yes, we'll come to you a bit later about the kind of review of that one. Good to see Belgium bagging some goals with some of their more fringe and second choice players. Let's head back to Croatia. Jack Bishop, there's been another goal. Who's it gone to?
Yeah, James, as I mentioned previously, it looked like both teams were just going to see out the result that it was at 2-0 Croatia. But from there, Croatia just held the ball for quite some time, knocking it about mostly in the defence. All of a sudden, they burst forward down the left. Perisic, who did come on the right, had actually floated over to the left. And it is Perisic, the substitute, linking up with yet another substitute. This time it is Bracalo, the Wolfsburg striker, who had just switched into Perisic's space on the right, actually. And Perisic got himself in behind the defence, squared it to Bracalo, who was completely open at the back post and you know, at that point could not miss. So it is now Croatia 3, Malta 0 as we are into the final minute of injury time here.
Yes, good stuff there. Good win for Croatia, and the full-time whistle has just gone there. Ollie Johnson, has been another huge chance in Cardiff. Are Czech Republic knocking on the door?
Well, it was very much a late scare there. It was Salutka, right. It was about 2 minutes ago, and brave defending by Joe Roden right on the line. Ball cleared right off. It should have been 1-1, and that's full-time. Brilliant result. Wonderful defending by Joe Roden. He's had a bit of a shy game today, but you know, when it made the difference at the end, brilliant. 1-0 Wales full-time.
Yes, full-time over in Cardiff. Wales struggled a bit in front of goal, but it all came good through Ollie's best mate, Dan James, in the end. Jacob Tanswell, you're deep into added time in the game in Turkey. I was talking Turkey up before this game, but it looks like they're going to end with a 3-3 draw.
Yeah, it does look that way, James. Latvia probably finishes stronger in a way. It may have had less goals than Hayden and Luke's, but I tell you what, the competitiveness has probably been better than them 2 games. In the last 10 minutes, in all honesty, have resembled some sort of FIFA game. I think every single tackle has been a slide tackle. They've just been spamming the X button. But Dennis Turek had a soft header for Turkey, but it was easily collected by the keeper. But there's 30 seconds left. It looks like Turkey are going to drop 2 points, having been 3-1 up. Turkey 3, Latvia 3.
Spain under 21s have bagged 2 goals in 4 minutes in their game. Let's go to Ryan Honey. Are we any closer to the final whistle in your game in Luxembourg?
Yeah, about 15 seconds now. Portugal just taking their time in possession as this game looks like it's drawn to a conclusion. But João Cancelo, Renato Sanchez is going to finish it. No, he's not. I mean, he got stuck under his feet in the area, and it looked all for well it was going to be 4, but the Luxembourg defenders managed to get back in their numbers and clear away to safety. But Portugal knocking on the door again. Ball into the box, well over hit, and I think that should be full-time. Portugal 3, Luxembourg 1.
We know the Irish are lucky, but how many chances do they want? Charlie Parker.
It's Christie on the right-hand side again. He's whipped it in. It's found Robertson again. He has a header close post, but Al Sheep with a great save. And the full-time whistle has just gone. It finishes 1-1. Ireland, 11 games without a win.
Yeah, not looking good for Stephen Kenny's men. The pressure mounts with the fans and the media. Still going in the game in Gibraltar and in Slovakia, but we've had a full-time whistle in Montenegro. Harry Smith.
Yeah, there has been. And just on the full-time whistle, Josh King has smacked the ball against the crossbar. It was fantastic work from Solent down the left-hand side. And he pulled the ball back for Josh King, who I thought was just going to slip it into the bottom corner. He opened his foot out with the inside of his foot, smacked it onto the crossbar. But the game has ended 1-0 to Norway here. A frustrating evening for the Norwegians, despite the victory.
Yeah, got their World Cup qualifying, came back underway with a big win against Montenegro, who'd won their first two. Jacob Tanswell, it's now full-time in your game, but there was almost a chance at the death. Was it two?
Yeah, it was to Latvia. I said they were finishing stronger, and Ramons Krallis had a great chance. He was 1v1 against the keeper, only hit it straight at the keeper's chest. Just now, Turkey are trudging off, having dropped 2 points, and they look weary, to be honest with you. And there's certainly more questions than there is answers in this game, especially after their great start, last week against Netherlands, winning that game 4-2. They've dropped 2 points, and it's given Netherlands a chance to regain top spot in the table.
Yeah, not ideal for Turkey. Obviously, 3-1 up in that game and were in such good form. But the group's still wide open, so we'll see who can finish top. Matas Baranauskas, are Slovakia seeing out the game quite well?
No, actually, it's all Russia now with the last minute. They're trying to get the last-minute equalizer. They had a few chances with the long balls towards the box for their strikers. Zuba, but nothing so far. And Slovakia, actually, it was a nice chance for Russia, but the goalkeeper took the ball. And 20 seconds left. Slovakia 1, Slovakia 2, Russia 1. Sorry.
So, it looks like it's going to be a win for Slovakia in that one against Russia. A bit of an upset. I would have gone for Russia myself. Most impressive victory tonight, I think, would probably have to go to Belgium. Luke Wallace, just how good were they?
Just waiting for my camera to kick in then, James. Just leave you nervous for a couple of seconds. Belgium were unbelievably good tonight. In stages, it looked like Belarus might get one back, but Belgium weathered the storm, and every time they came forward, pretty much it ended up in the back of the net. 6 different goal scorers, 7 different players chipping in with an assist. Roberto Martinez made something like 7 or 8 changes coming into tonight, and his squad players really stepped up for him. It's really impressive from Belgium. This is their penultimate game before heading into Euro 2020, and it's just the kind of performance he would have wanted.
Yeah, like you said, good to see some of those French players in the team, and the likes of Benteke, Batshuayi, Trossard get on the score sheet as well. Ollie Johnson, just how good and impressive was that and needed was that win against Czech Republic?
Well, it was a must-win game, really. I think if Wales had lost that, they'd have been looking at 2 defeats on the bounce in their first 2 games in this qualifying campaign. And really, look at Czech Republic getting a decent result in a draw against Belgium. It really was a must-win game. So to win this, they're right back in the mix now. And I think they need to be putting a bit of pressure on Belgium in the next couple of games, get a few more results. But performance-wise as well, most of the team were fantastic, I'd say. I think Nico Williams should have been man of the match. I think it was absolutely fantastic. And the way the defence played towards the end to keep it at 1-0, when it could very easily have been a late equaliser. Fantastic result, yeah.
The last 2 full-time whistles have gone. Gibraltar 0, Netherlands 7. 2 goals from Memphis Depay in that one. Wijnaldum, De Jong, Berghuis and Malen on the score sheet as well. And like Matas said, the Slovakia managed to hold on for a 2-1 win against Russia. Jacob, we were talking up Turkey. I was anyway. I thought they'd be quite good. Like you said, it obviously gives Netherlands a good chance. What was the issue? Was it the centre-back pairing, or was it just, were the opposition, did they play to those kind of weaknesses?
It definitely was a centre-back pairing, James. Up front, it looked good. Yilmaz looked excellent. He was holding the ball up. He was causing all sorts of problems. But what I'm surprised at is Sionchu and Kabak. They looked all over the place, to be honest with you. Their partnership, might be in its early stages, but one of them was pressing, the other one was pressing too. They were leaving space in behind. They were missing headers. And the goals they conceded were really soft. They were coming from second balls into the box. Things that are, meat and drink for these two centre-backs, especially playing for the clubs they do, Leicester and Liverpool. So I'm really surprised at that. And for me, you've got to look at that defence, because that was the issue tonight.
Yes, it definitely was. Hayden Baker, Netherlands obviously had to come back from that 4-2 loss to Turkey in the first game. They've won the next two. I don't want to take too much from a 7-0 win against Gibraltar, but how good did they look tonight?
I'm not sure what you mean, to be honest, James. I think Gibraltar will be one of the leading teams in this group. It's... To be fair, although obviously it is Gibraltar, one of the lower ranked sides you will find in World Cup qualifying in Europe, it actually was a really impressive performance from the Dutch. They were frustrated a lot in the first half. As I said, the Gibraltar defence was excellent. They just battled and battled. They were really physical, and not in a bad way either. They really frustrated the Dutch, didn't give them much room. And Holland really had to work for their goals. All of them are quick passes inside the box, just looking for an opening to get basically pass the ball over the line. I think for a team that's been lacking confidence in a lot of ways, I think it proved a good decision to play their first team for this game. It's a lot of goals. Again, as I said, the most they've scored in an away game in 11 years. It's a big one for their confidence, a big one for their goal difference going ahead in the groups. It's put them up to second place to compete with Turkey in what looks like it's going to be a really tasty group. So, any win you can get on the boards and any performance that comes like that is going to be well greeted by Frank de Boer's team.
Yes, definitely. Like you said, keeping pressure with Turkey. It's been an interesting race in that group. I think it's one of the most hotly contested ones, although Turkey obviously didn't look too good tonight. Jack Bishop, the 3-0 win for Croatia over Malta. They didn't play too well, but would you say that that's a good way to end the first qualifying stages?
Yeah, Croatia not quite at their best when you think about the fact that, as you mentioned, they're very recently World Cup finalists, losing World Cup finals, of course, and knocked England out. Didn't look up to the standards that we saw from them in that tournament, but still got the job done on the night, and still definitely worthy winners. Malta, in the first sort of 10-15 minutes, they really took the game to them and were really brave, and it looked like they could get something out of it. And for some reason, they just made a shift. And I think it was after Croatia's first chance on the counter. They hit them once on the counter, and Malta said, right, that's it. We're going into a back five, and we're going to sit here and hope that we can take the 0-0. And Croatia, once they introduced the likes of Perisic and Brekalo and Modric, that just simply wasn't going to happen. And in the end, of course, all three of them got on the score sheet. So, yeah, Malta, it's a shame that they didn't continue to play the way that they started, because they really could have given Croatia more of a game there, I thought. But in the end, they're sort of, I don't know if it's fear of Croatia, but whatever it was a clear tactical shift from them after the 15-minute mark, and it ultimately cost them a nice, easy victory for Croatia, 3-0 on the night.
Yes, indeed. And lastly, just head to Charlie Parker before we do a little bit of a small preview of the games tomorrow. What did we learn from that game? Also, are Republic of Ireland as bad as we think they are, and are Qatar really good?
Yes and yes. One team looked like they were playing in a World Cup final. The other team looked like they were playing a charity match. Ireland did not show up, especially in that second half. They scored in the first 5 minutes, but that was it. It was a great game for Qatar. I'm really impressed by them. They dominated possession. They dominated shots on target. I was really impressed.
Yes, not too good of an evening for the Irish fans. I'm sure they won't be sleeping too well tonight. In terms of games going on tomorrow, the big teams in action: France, Spain, Germany. I want to touch a bit on France and their squad. Ryan Honey, how good is this French first team and second team and third team? How many teams they want to make? Just how good is their squad at the moment?
Oh, it's absolutely unbelievable. The amount of squad depth they've got, it's quite phenomenal, really. The amount of players they've got playing at such a high level in countless positions speaks volumes. And I think over the next 5, 6, 7 years or so, that they'll be the ones to beat in terms of major tournaments. I think they'll definitely be favourites for this summer's Euros.
Yeah, definitely. I think looking at some of their players in the under-21s, like obviously Fafana's in there. Simichan, who recently got a move to RB Leipzig. I mean, Aouar was injured, but he's been playing week in, week out for Lyon. So there's so many good players there. I mean, imagine if Adi Buffon was in charge of them and he gave the same wishy-washy excuse. He would be in the job much longer. Germany are another team in action tomorrow against North Macedonia. Now, they didn't play too well the other day against Romania. I'm not sure whether you caught that one, Jacob. Obviously, Joachim Löw's going to leave after the end of the Euros. They haven't really decided who's going to come instead. They didn't perform too well in the international tournaments recently. Do you reckon it's kind of a changing of the guard for Germany, or just they'll be good again?
To be a change in the guard. I think the Joachim Löw tenure's ran its course, hasn't it? But I think announcing that he will depart after the Euros kind of gives him a free pass in a way, because you've seen what's happened in the last couple of years, ostracising the likes of Thomas Müller, Jerome Boateng. But now, since he's leaving at the end of this tournament, he doesn't have to look for the future. He can just focus on the present, and he might want to reintegrate them. Germany have got a good team, but they do look caught in between styles. Sometimes they're pressing high, sometimes they're dropping off. But whoever comes in as manager, it looks like it could be Hansi Flick, who obviously was Joachim Löw's assistant in the last World Cup, in the tournament before that, or Ralf Rangnick, and they're both really good managers. So I wouldn't be too downbeat if I was Germany. I think this Euros, for once in a long, long time, they're coming into the tournament as firm underdogs, aren't they?
Yes, moving on to the 2008 and 12 winners, Spain, who the other night was really caught it. They went 1-0 down to Georgia, and it took a Dani Olmo goal in the last minute, which should have been definitely saved by the Georgia keeper to get him back into it. Ollie Johnson, do you think Spain are similar to Germany in the sense that they're kind of stuck in between, an age of players?
I think so, but I think unlike Germany seem to have probably a few, you say young, but like sort of 24, 25-year-old, very good players that you put in some of the best names in the world. In my opinion, I don't think Spain really have that. They haven't really shown too many players that you put into a position where you think, they could take Spain to a World Cup final and take them to win it, or Euros or something like that. But like I said, with Lowe leaving and all the players that aren't selected anymore for Germany, as mentioned, I think it's going to be a similar thing as well, because you look at the likes of Sergio Ramos, he's getting pretty old now, and I think if they don't qualify for the next World Cup, he might not play again for Spain. Same for Gerard Piqué, he's about the same sort of age. So, and really they haven't got much defensively. Maybe, so it's hard to say, but yeah, I think it'll probably be a long time before we see a Spain team as good as the one we saw 10 years ago.
Let's bring it to Matas Baranauskas. Obviously, Matas, your team, Lithuania, in action against Italy tomorrow. How are you feeling? Confident? I'm not sure if I would be in your shoes.
No, I'm not confident. We lost 4-0 against Kosovo in a friendly match, so that says a lot. And I saw that everyone healthy for Italy, Immobile, Barella, everyone. So I'm not looking forward to that game.
No, I wouldn't be. Obviously, I think Mancini quite a good run of 17 games unbeaten or something in all competitions with Italy. They could be coming of age again.
I would be happy
in terms of home nation game. I mean, you might do. You never know. But historically, they are very good defensively, aren't they, Italy?
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. I know you're covering that one tomorrow, so I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
In terms of the home nation games, Northern Ireland are in action against Bulgaria, and Scotland are in action against the Faroe Islands. Now, I would say Scotland should win that, but they lost 3-0 to Kazakhstan last year. Jacob, do you think Che Adams' inclusion in the squad is going to help them score some goals?
No. Che Adams, he got compared to a ketchup bottle by Ralph Hasenhüttl because he does nothing for a long time and then it all comes at once. So Che Adams, in terms of Scotland strikers, he's probably one of their better ones. But does that really say much? Probably not. But I am looking forward to seeing Stuart Armstrong and Che Adams do what they do in Southampton shirts, where they run around a lot, but don't really do much, in Scotland shirts.
No, I think it could be good for Scotland. They haven't really had a good and the team they played against Israel, where I thought they gave Israel way too much of the ball. I mean, this is Israel, for God's sake. It's not Spain, is it? They had about 17 shots in the first half. Scotland had about 3. So with players like Robertson and like Tierney, McTominay, John McGinn, Armstrong, Adams, it's a lot better Scotland team than it's been recently.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
James, there's no creativity in them. You've told me Robertson, Tierney, McTominay. Yeah, they're brilliant. They're a manager's dream if you want to run around a lot. But where's the creativity there?
Yeah, but would you say that they should still be better at not giving as many chances away? Such a defensive team, they just can't do it, can they?
Certainly, yeah, they should be, but it's Scotland at the end of the day. You can't expect them to be too good. I think them type of games against the likes of Israel. We talked about Slovenia and Slovakia before this game. Then that's their level. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how they do in England's group in the Euros. Lastly, before we go, I'm just going to quickly ask Ryan Honey. Ryan, who are your favourites to win the Euros?
Favourites to win the Euros? I mean, it's a tough one.
Yes.
There'll be a few countries that I feel that they've got a good chance. I mean, France will be, I think, top of the pile with the amount of squad depth they've got. I think outside bets potentially. I'd hate to pass forward, but I'm going to say England. Belgium. I think Germany and Spain, as the boys touched upon, I think that they're going through difficult periods where they're really trying to find themselves and where they're going to go, not only in this tournament, but after, and where they go from there. So I think it'd be between us, Belgium and France.
James, picture the scene. 117th minute at Wembley on July 11th, okay? James Ward-Prowse has a free kick left of centre against Belgium. He's going to curl it, top corner, and England are going to win the Euros, okay? Believe.
I'd love to, mate, if only that was the case. Anyway, thank you all for joining us tonight, guys. We've had 8 good games, some lot of goals, 8 goals in Belgium, 7 goals in the Netherlands. And we'll be back tomorrow evening, similar time, where our own Jack Bishop will be running the show, leading us through all the European games. There's 1 League game and a handful of international friendlies. Thank you very much, and let's see you tomorrow.